How I love the name Jesus.
Oh, how
Oh,
I
how I
love the
love
name
the
Jesus.
name
We can just
Jesus.
go to church. We can just go to church for
Don't
season 4.
play.
You know what
Don't
I'm saying?
play.
I have a feeling that's just the direction this is going to go into. I mean, why
It's
doesn't
gonna
he get all
happen.
the praise? You know?
Singing
But yeah,
praises, Lord.
I hear you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of sitting next to King Jaquell Martin, who is a writer, a director, an actor, and as you just heard, a singer? What
I
just
can hold a little
happened?
note.
I
I
heard
can hold a
you.
little note. A little karaoke. A little karaoke.
I heard that.
Yeah, don't tell nobody. That's G14 classified.
Well, thank you so much for the time that you have cut out in order to have this conversation and join us on our platform. Again, as I said before, I am so grateful to the blessing who is Corinne Panisi for connecting us. And I'm also very humbled because I know you did catch glimpses of her episode and see what the Mirage podcast had to offer in our style of conversation. And you were willing to jump on and be a part and, you know, be a member of what I have labeled the Mirage family. So I know I told you this, you know, when we had our first personal conversation on the phone, but being a member of the Mirage fam means that you have my unconditional support from here on out infinitely. It doesn't stop, and I will always, always see you as a person that is shining their light so brightly, no matter the obstacles that you face that try to dim you. And that is something that I want to use this podcast to magnify and amplify.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So when we Google your name, we can see you on Amazon with a 5-star rating book. We can see you on IMDb, known for the things that you've acted in. You have been in Ballers. You have directed for A War on Friendly Ground. You have been acknowledged and awarded in so many film festivals. So these are the things that we can see on the surface, but I'm very excited to find out exactly who you are beneath all of that.
Let's get to peeling these layers then.
We are peeling all of the layers. So right now, I'd like to start with your decision to go into the Army, your decision to serve our country, your decision to save the world, because that's how I view it. And just what you feel you're made of, those overall personality traits that say to you that you wanted to be a hero. Expand on that a little bit for me.
Well, I've always played sports my whole life. I've always been the captain of the team. Honestly, growing up in a house without a father, sometimes you have to step up in certain areas in your life that you normally wouldn't. So this is just something that I just had to step up in. I do have a relationship with him now, you know, but sometimes when you're missing things in life, you have to step up to the plate because there's no one to do that. So I did that on every aspect of my life, you could say. My mother was in the military, and it came down to getting kicked out the house, you know, for being an ignorant teen, doing ignorant things. Got caught with a girl in the house or whatever else. And I wasn't going to choose the streets. So I chose to protect my country. I chose to do something that I could be proud of, you know, something that I could leave a legacy and have stories about. So something that other people have put their life on the line before me so I could have the peace that I have right now. So I decided to join the military. Now, technically, I actually decided to join the Air Force. But the recruiter tried to trick me. So when I signed up for the Air Force, the recruiter tried to, I tried to sign up for personnel. I wanted to be personnel in the Air Force. The recruiter on the day of me actually joining the Air Force said, "Airman Martin, are you ready to be a parachute rigger?" I said, "What's that?" He says, "Oh, that's the person that packs the parachute for the people who jump out the plane." Oh, not me. Not if you want that person to live, because I know I'm not detail oriented like that. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that was crazy. So I said, you lied to me. And so I wound up joining the military after that. I wound up going to the Army after that.
And we have to acknowledge Shirley Ann, who will be joining us shortly.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Mom in the spotlight, you know what I'm saying? Well, listen, if I could do that for every guest, you know, hey, here's all the light you shine, and here are the people that helped you to shine it and brought you into this world, just like they can take you out. It's like, nah.
Right.
But,
that's a classic line. That's a classic line.
Dude, this is a first. Hold on now. I'm just now realizing this at this moment. I am taking it in.
Okay.
This will be the first time that a parent has joined this other podcast. I know we're just getting to know each other, but I'm a very emotional person. I'm going to have to pull it together.
Hold on. Now we're making history on the Mirage podcast?
Hey, don't say it like that. That's what's going to make me cry.
You're making history today. Hey, look, y'all better put on y'all seatbelt. Y'all better put in y'all seatbelts because we're about to have a good time.
Hold on, because remember what I said, it ain't just the seatbelt. Okay, I need the helmet. You know what I'm saying? Let me get the shoulder pads. I'm sorry,
Right.
the elbow pads on. You have to buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because of what King has been through. You have to buckle up. You have to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally prepared for what we are about to embark, the journey we're about to embark on.
That part.
Decide. King, please let me know before you tell your story.
Okay.
Please let me know what personality traits you have, you're made of, that have helped you get through this, keeping your head on your shoulders and that beautiful smile on your face.
Well, for me, and I don't try to put this on nobody, but for me, God is amazing. For me. Because without God, I wouldn't be here today. For me. So I thank God for blessing my mother and allowing her to be the strong woman that she is today, because that strength poured over into me. My family, the different men that have come across my life, because sometimes it's not just your family that influences you, it's the different type of people in your neighborhood, or that you're allowed, or the energy or the frequencies that are allowed to penetrate into your life. So I want to be grateful for all the different mentors who spoke positivity over my life, from my coaches, from teachers, and just different men who saw something in me that sometimes you can't see in yourself.
Amen.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you were sure to absorb all of these things. You truly were blessed to be surrounded by people that were shining light. Therefore, here you are shining yours. Thank you for that.
This might sound crazy, right? The problems.
Huh?
I'm grateful for, I said the problems, my problems.
Okay. Yeah. It don't sound crazy. Go ahead and preach on it. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm grateful for all the storms that I've been through.
All of them.
Because sometimes we're only happy when we cross the finish line and we don't appreciate the race that we had to run. So I'm grateful for all the problems that I've had in my life, because it shaped me into what I am today. So I'm grateful for every time I got punched in the face, every time life told me no, every time that I wasn't prepared for something. I'm grateful for all my failures, because you got to go through all your no's to get to your yes. You got to be able to see the rain before you're able to have a rainbow. So I'm grateful for the problems. And I think sometimes that we look at problems the wrong way, but if we change our perspective of what we go through in life, how could we ever grow if we never grow through nothing? So I'm thankful for all the different tests to allow me to share a testimony on this platform. So I'm grateful for the tests.
When you said the word grow, I envisioned the analogy of any tree, any flower. The fact that when the winds are high, that is what's strengthening their roots. The fact that when the storm falls, you know, and it comes with torrential rain, it is that rain that's going to hydrate and nourish that plant and allow it to grow. Those are two things often perceived as negative that have a positive outcome.
That's what a blessing is. Yeah, that's what a blessing is. And I think sometimes we don't get the understanding of what you're going through. If you look at it differently, is exactly what you need to move to the next level. Because if you get to the next level too fast, it could kill you. It could set you up. You might not be prepared for what you're asking for. You could be like, God, I want this. God, I want this. And then you get it. And then it comes with a whole workload that you haven't been mentally prepared for, strong, physically prepared for. You didn't know the type of weight that it carried. So be grateful for what you're going through, because that allows you to build the muscles to carry the weight for the next level. That's a better way to put it.
That workout analogy is something serious.
I've
spoken on that multiple times over the last several days. If you don't, of course, when you first pick up that 100-pound dumbbell, you'll hesitate. You may not even be able to get off the ground at first, but does that mean that you give up and walk away from the strength that you want to obtain? No. In order to obtain that strength, you literally have to go through the pain and frustration of working on it again and again and again. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, 4 weeks later, you got it. So now this conversation becomes about patience. Are you patient enough to grow through what you're going through? Darn it. To grow through what you're going through.
You know, what's funny that you say that, right? I think, maybe I'm a weirdo, but I think we know everything And because we're talking about weights, let's use this analogy. Have you seen the guys that go to the gym all the time and they're big up here, but then their legs are so skinny?
Ain't got no legs. Ain't got no calf muscle.
They shape like Johnny Bravo, you know what I mean? So I think that's how we are when it comes to our knowledge.
Just because you said that, I have to go. Sorry, right? You got me. You got me there.
You're good. But here's the thing. If you don't spend enough time in a situation, how can you expect to be strong in it? Like, I think you can speak every language. If you went to a book and you practice Russian every single day, eventually you'll be able to speak Russian. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is we don't spend enough time in what we say we want. And then we don't get what we want because we haven't developed that muscle. So you could tell how successful you want to be with what you spend your time in. What you do in your downtime will create the results of the success you want. But we're not intimate with the things that we say we want. We don't love it. We don't water it. We don't nurture it. We get frustrated. There's a cleaner. Have you ever heard of 409 cleaner? The little spray bottle? 409 cleaner. The spray bottle when you clean the house with?
Okay, yes.
Do you know how it got its name?
No.
It took 409 times to get the formula right. My question to you and the audience is, how many times will it take for you to get your formula right? Or do you just quit after one failure? After two failure? After three failure? See, the point of it is I mean, because how bad do you want it? What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you say you want? And most of the time, we never accomplish that. God says the land is made of milk and honey. Okay, well, in order to get to the milk, that means you got to get into a pasture. And when you step in the pasture, you're going to step in some boo-boo. How many times are you going to step in boo-boo to get the milk that you say you want? If you say you want the honey, well, in order to get the honey, you got to stick your hand in the bee's nest. How many times are you going to get stung to get the honey you say you want? So whatever your dream is, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you say your dream is, whatever you say you want, what are you going to do to go get it? Because on the way to get the dream, you're going to get punched in the face. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have somebody talk about you. You're going to have somebody say you can't do it. It's not meant for you. All this and blah, blah, blah. And the trolls are going to come out. But they're supposed to, because it's part of the formula and the system of life to see how bad you want what you say you want. Or are you going to quit? Or are you going to give up on the gift that God gave you? Or are you willing to go die on the cross to go get it? And that choice is up to you. My bad. You know we can go.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. If it's anybody's bad, it's my bad for not being prepared with a box of tissues right now.
Hey, we can go. Okay. Hey, and rest in peace, my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's King Jaquell on one side, my boy Kobe Bryant on the other side. But you know why? Here's the thing. Let's talk about Kobe real quick. You know why everybody loved Kobe? It isn't because Kobe's Kobe. It's because of Kobe's work ethic. Mamba mentality. It's because in the situations, he's not failed to take the big shot. He's not scared to take the big shot. He's not scared of the big moment. But the difference, what people really got to understand is Kobe's at the gym, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. What are you doing with your dream? Are you sleeping or are you in the gym or are you in the lab working on it? We love Kobe because of Kobe's success. We don't understand the work ethic that Kobe had to become Kobe. But there's no difference between Kobe and us. This lady said, yo, who's your favorite basketball player? I said, Kobe Bryant. She says, tell me about Kobe Bryant. I said, he went to Lower Merion High School, got drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, went to the Los Angeles Lakers. His scored 63 points versus Dallas, and then he scored 81 points versus Toronto. He has 5 championship rings. She said, oh my God, you know a lot about Kobe. What's your stats? I said, excuse me? She said, what are your stats? You heard me clear. She says, isn't it amazing how we can be drawn to someone else's life and we know everything about their life and what they're doing in their life, but we don't know what we're supposed to be doing in our life? And you don't see nothing wrong with that. But if you put in the same work ethic and concentrated about what you're supposed to do, you'll be the Kobe Bryant in your own life. I said, like everything you see in my background is somebody else created. From the aquarium, from Kobe Bryant's picture, from the TV, from whatever. Even if you just look around in your house, everything you see is someone else's dream. And if you're always participating in buying and purchasing someone else's dream, who's spending time in your dream? And what makes their dream more important than your dream? We got to start thinking about the things that we say we want in life. We got to start thinking about our own dreams. We got to think about the things that we say that are our passions. Are we really passionate about it? Do we spend time in it? Do we work on it? Do we love it? Do we nurture it? Do we take care of it? Or do we allow someone else to distract us from what we said we want? Biblically speaking, Peter walking on water. Peter saw Jesus, and while he was walking on the water, he was like, oh my God, I got it. Doing the June bug, ready to get stuck. I got it. Well, he's doing the June bug, going to Jesus or whatever else. Everything was all good until the storm came. And then all of a sudden, he started looking left. He started looking right on social media. He started going to the club. He started doing everything else except what he said he wanted to do. But see, when his eye was on the prize, he was able to get what he said he wanted. But when he started doing everything else and worried about what this person was doing on social media, what this troll said, what my mama said, what my cousin said, he never got to accomplish his dream. So the question is, who's distracting you from your dream? Or are you distracting yourself? Or are you procrastinating yourself? God, I want more in life. God, I want this in life. God. Why can't I have this, Lord? Well, at the end of the day, the Bible talks about, it says, well done, my good and faithful servant. The key word in that scripture is servant, because it's talking about service. So my question is, are you being a good servant? If you have a business and you open up your business is the straw man version of you, right? But if you have no customers, you have no business. But your business is set up to serve customers. So maybe if you don't like your bank account, maybe you ain't served enough people. You understand that analogy of what I'm saying? You got to serve. Your talent ain't meant for you. Your talent is a service for other people to see. So you got to be willing to give your talent away to showcase your gratitude, your thankfulness, your blessings. The more people you can bless, the more you will be blessed yourself. You can't ask for blessing if you don't want to be a blessing. What are we doing here? I mean, we got so comfortable in lies in America, so comfortable in lies in human beings that we don't even understand what truth look like no more. So then when someone comes along and they start telling you truth, then all of a sudden you get addicted to it. Shout out to Derek Jackson, no disrespect, but he tricked a lot of women in different situations and lived that lifestyle. But the only reason why he was able to trick these different women to live that lifestyle was because he gave a little bit of truth. But what was the devil's greatest trick? Is to be able to give a little bit of truth with a little bit of lie in him. Come on, man. What we doing here? I'm sorry.
You're literally on fire. You're literally on, take the hat off. You're burning up. You're burning up.
You got me started. And I'm not saying I'm all of that. I got flaws. Let me be real. I got flaws, y'all. I got problems. But every day I wake up, I'm grateful for my problems because somebody wished they was alive to have them. The richest place is the graveyard. So while you complaining, somebody wish they could complain. You should be grateful for your problems because then it gives you the opportunity to think into how to solve them, how to create the change you say you want. Every day you wake up is an opportunity to change your future, but it's a closer day to your grave. What are you waiting for? If you woke up today, it's a chance to change your life. You can say I'm preaching, you can call it whatever you want, but I promise you, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna say this now, and I'm gonna end this right now. At the end of the conversation, if you died today, would you get an A+ on life support card? And only you know the answer to that question, because you can lie to me, you can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to that person in the mirror. But if God blesses you to see another day, because you ain't got to, because somebody died today. Somewhere in the world, somebody took their last breath. But if you get another day, you better wake up and live like it's extra credit because tomorrow's not promised. It's not promised. Because if you knew you were going to die in 30 days, how much stuff would you get done in your life? You would be unstoppable. So why do we live like tomorrow's promised? Why are we not unstoppable today? Because you have the choice to be unstoppable today. Come on, Mirage family. I'm only saying things that you
Mirage family.
I'm only saying something we know. We know already, but that's the thing, Ava. We know this already. I didn't say nothing that we didn't already know. I'm just affirming what we know. You know what I'm saying?
But you never know. Someone's particular voice, someone's choice of words, someone's background, someone's experience is going to resonate with each different person in a very unique way.
Big facts.
I thank you. I'm humbled for the passion, the dedication, the work that you put into speaking on something so important. Speaking on the progression of others. And you mentioned in what you were saying just now, some people don't get to see tomorrow.
It ain't hit the bank account yet, so it ain't about the money. My bank account looks like a low cell phone battery, but that's changing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you do it for the money, you did it for the wrong reasons. But if you do it for the right reasons, the money will last forever and will turn into residual. But that's a test in itself. Are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it because it's what's right?
Right.
Are you doing it because you love it?
So based on what we need to accomplish before our last day, before our last breath.
Yes, ma'am.
There was a point in time where the thought of you taking your last breath was a little too real.
Oh, really?
Aside from what we have already shared at this point, because this will air in a few weeks, aside from what we've already shared about a love background, can you please share with myself, with the Mirage family, how your frame of mind changed just because of that experience?
I'm fearless.
Wow. I have to be honest. I did not get that answer.
Yeah. Because when you lose everything, you have nothing to be scared of. When like Ava, I lost everything from
Wow.
my family. You know, I wound up getting divorced. My career, my job, my bank account, everything was stripped from me. Comparatively to the Bible, almost like some Job type of stuff. But Job was able to keep his old lady. I lost everything, but the beauty in losing everything is all you can do is look up. No, I take that back. You have a choice. You have a choice because it can get the best of you if you choose to allow it to. But for those who choose to look up, then that way he can pick you up and you can move forward in what you need to move forward in. I just understand your purpose. Sometimes you don't know what your purpose is. And sometimes you got to get knocked on your butt to realize, okay. Like, have you ever got a whooping from your mama and you be like, okay, I ain't doing that no more because I know she ain't playing. Before you got the whooping, you kept testing it. See, sometimes God he'll whisper, hey, Ava. He'll talk to you, Ava. And then sometimes God got to Ava. To get your opinion.
Right. So in what category do you consider your experience? I just want to hear from you.
God had to put me in a situation where it was going to be my last day, where I could have died to get my attention, because I was. Let's keep it 100. I wasn't listening.
I was going to say, were you a spiritual person prior to this experience?
Oh yeah, I've always been raised in church. I've always believed in God. I've always had my perspective or whatever else in my relationship. And don't get me wrong, y'all. I argue with God. I go back and forth like, bro, what you mean? Nope, that ain't it. You're lying. That ain't you. But sometimes the right situation can change you. Yeah. Like when we talked, Ava, you started this amazing podcast. You built this queendom for people like myself to be able to have a platform. But before you did it, you probably had all the haters. Nope, don't do it, girl. Ain't nobody gonna listen. Ain't nobody gonna watch that. Blah, 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 blah. All these different distractions from stopping you to being where you are. But because you chose to say, it don't matter what nobody say. I know, got to hold my mouth. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm supposed to do. Now your podcast is a blessing to so many other people. You became a beacon of light where we can sell our boats over to you to be able to speak, to lift our voice, to tell our story about, hey, what it took to get here. Because if you didn't have this platform, I wouldn't have my boat sailing over to the light to say, hey, Ava, I have something to say. But because of your platform and you've done what you've done, regardless to all the haters, it gave me a platform. Now I can speak to people who I would never have a conversation with because of you. So shout out to you. No, because people don't get what you don't did. Here's the thing, Ava. People see, ooh, look at how she got it all set up, the Mirage podcast, ooh, on YouTube, and she got the hashtag and everybody else, and it looks so. People don't know what it took for you to build this. People don't know all the hell that you've been through and all the different decisions that you had to make to even take a risk, because this was an investment. It took money. It took courage. It took your vulnerability to be in front of the world for you to speak or give us a platform, because you don't know what I'm going to say. You're taking a risk on me speaking right now to your people. But because you have enough faith for me to get on here to be able to speak, to give me a platform, to give me a chance to speak, I might be able to touch one person. Just one. That's all I need is just one. I don't even need everybody to vibe with me. But if my vibe touches one person, then God, I've done my part, because I'm not God. It's not my job to touch everybody. See, sometimes we get in positions and now all of a sudden we think we all of that. Ego, edging God out. My ego has gotten away. So now I think it's about me. Ava show's about me. No, it's not. My information that I'm saying right now ain't got nothing to do with me and has everything to do with the person that it's supposed to touch. And I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for you. So you threw me the alley-oop. I'm just catching it and dunking it. So I thank you for building this situation for all of us to have a platform to come talk. This is amazing what you've done. So sis, kudos to you, because you're a female, you're Black, you have all these different things in society. You're one of the most hated people in the world. You get talked about, you get culturally appropriated. Your ancestors have been raped, beaten, stripped of everything. And yet you still, Maya Angelou, still I rise. And you have risen to be able to create this platform for us to be able to have this. What are we doing? Thank you. What are we doing? I'm grateful. I'm humble. And I would never disappoint or disrespect the platform that God has allowed you to build. But I will thank you for being able to take the time to build what you've built. Because we don't do that enough. We get on here and just, yeah, it's about me. This is about me and my story. Oh, it ain't. It's about you and building a platform. And I'm just thankful to be able to come have a conversation with your congregation. Pastor.
You know.
You doing?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The English language does not do my feelings justice. All I can say is thank you, and that I am 3 trillion% just grateful and humbled. Thank you for that affirmation.
Oh yeah. Look, this is how I say thank you. Your thank you is what I see. This is the show. This is the podcast. That's the work. So I see all of it. And I'm just being able to sit in one of the rooms of your throne and being like, man, look at what I get to do because of what she's.
I'm overwhelmingly appreciative of the fact that you understand so much of what you just said. While we have just met, while we have only had a few conversations up until this point, you still have gathered. Every single thing you just said is so, so true. It means so much to me for people like yourself to step onto this platform and trust that my purpose and my mission is to simply hear and see you. And now this is something that's so cyclical, so infinite. I mean, I absolutely took a risk. You know, it was an investment. But I want to say, because this is just a big compliment tornado right now, you know, if not for the faith and the love that I have for spirits like yours, then maybe I wouldn't have taken that risk or made that investment. It's what I see that drives me. It's what I'm moved by that drives me to continue to invest in this, invest my time, money, and energy into it. So we could keep saying thank you back and forth forever and ever and ever. But I truly appreciate that breakdown. One thing that you said that stood out to me, and I know that we have your phenomenal mother in the waiting room right now. So I would like to zoom in on the word fear and fearlessness. You said that because of that experience, fearlessness is the key factor, the thing that you took away. But it's interesting how you had to go through such a tremendous, surreal amount of fear prior to getting to that point.
Well, I mean, the only way to overcome fear is to face it. You have to face it head on. And sometimes we're not willing to jump off the cliff.
Facing it. Okay. We're going to hold on to that right there. Facing the fear. You were assaulted by a police officer for no reason.
Oh, it was for a reason. It was for a reason.
Well, okay. It was for plenty of reasons. You're right. It was for a reason. I'm sorry. You are absolutely correct. I don't know how to bounce back from that without just like going into another sermon. Okay.
It was for a reason. It was because if you look at what the original badge comes from, it comes from the slave patrol. So he was only doing what he was taught to do and what his ancestors have done before. And now I'm not saying you don't have good cops out there. You have amazing cops out there, but the bad cops make the good cops look bad. The guilty by association, that was what you would tell us. If someone committed a crime and I was there and I didn't do it, you would tell me I'm guilty by association. Well, if that applies to me, then the reverse of it applies to you. So when you have bad cops doing the wrong thing, then y'all guilty by association just as well because you're not exposing the bad cops for what they're doing.
Exposing the bad cops. Let's talk about the amount of fearlessness that you have had since this circumstance. You have continued to put one foot in front of the other when it comes to exposing this bad cop. You have gone on to multiple shows, told your story, spoken your piece. You've done so much to make sure that the character of this particular police officer was acknowledged, that the world was not ignorant to what was going on, to who performed this heinous act. Did you feel fear going through that? I mean, you know what you would have come up against or could have come up against when it comes to exposing the truth of the matter. Fear versus fearlessness. What was going on in your head and in your spirit?
Okay, God, as you wish. Wow. Because when I went on the news, Ava, I gave out my phone number on CNN to the world. And me not understanding how the entertainment business works, I didn't understand the risk that came with that. But my heart was pure when I did that because I really wanted to tell to this young lady. I received so many death threats. I received so many people saying they would riot. I had people faking as if they were the little girl. Hey, it's me. I'm the little girl. Send me a sexual picture. What? Because people will do anything to try to defame me. Because if they can defame my character, then my word has no more value.
Wow.
So I don't know who's on the other end of that line, but that's the setup. If I would have said, yes, I want you to riot, 6 o'clock news. King Jaquell Martin, person who got beat up by the police, said he wanted to start a riot and da-da-da this and da-da-da-da. The devil will try to set different traps up for you. See, when I went on the news, it wasn't just about my story. It was about, is he going to be an emotional black man? Because in certain situations where I was speaking very intelligently, oh, well, let's go back to the part where they beat your wife up in front of you. How did it make you feel?
Right.
Of course I'm angry. Even my own people. Because when I said I forgive the officer, even in our community, we didn't understand it. My forgiveness was not just about the officer. My forgiveness was so I could have my own inner peace. Because it would have been easy for me to go get a gun. It would have been easy for me to go act a fool. It would have been easy for me to do an eye for an eye. But that only lasts for a moment. I wanted to do something that's going to last forever. My book will last forever. My movie will last forever. My movie will touch so many more people than just one situation. So my forgiveness wasn't about the officer. It was all about me. Finding some internal peace and saying, okay, God, how can you use me? What can we do together for us to create the change that I claim that I want? And me taking this, okay, you want to make change? What are you willing to risk? What sacrifice are you willing to make? Myself. Shoot. Because now it's me on this platform. People see my face. I can't change this. The words that come out of my mouth, cancel culture is real. Life and death is real. A cop could roll up on me and be like, I remember you from your interview. I had cops coming to my door, still coming to my house. I went to the doctor. I showed the doctor and I played my answer machine messages for the doctor where they would threaten my life. Everything was on the line. So when everything is on the line, what do you got to be scared of? Because everything is really on the line now. Like for real. I got kids that might not see me no more. But if I don't do the change that I'm supposed to do, then they're going to face the same problems. So I would rather stand up as a man today so my sons don't have to go through what I went through. Because guess what? To be real with you, Ava, somebody made that sacrifice for me way before I ever made this sacrifice.
Amen.
Slaves trying to get away, slaves trying to be beaten, people, the Buffalo Soldiers, the Black Wall Street, people who got on the bus and the bus got bombed. Shout out to the Toluga 9 who did the first library sit-in. Look at our history. Our history shows people have been making sacrifices, getting beat up by the police, getting shot by water hoses every single day, and then showing back up to protest the next day. I'm not saying protesting is the only way, but some type of sacrifice had to be made. We had to face the fear. Mr. Joseph Jackson Jr. told me this. When he went into the library, he had the book upside down because he was so scared. Because never in history has Black people walked into a white library like that before. See, they prepared him. They prepared him before they did the first sit-in. He got waterboarded. He got called nigger. He got hit. He got beaten. Also, he would understand how not to react, how not to fight back, but to be brave enough to put his life on the line. Whew. You mean to tell me that I'm so comfortable that I'm not going to do my part in this? We become so
comfort.
And that's just to my people. When do we become so comfortable that we don't want to stand up for the change we claim we want? You ain't got to get out there and protest, but there's other ways to protest. There's other ways to stand up. There's other ways to hold ourselves accountable because even in our culture, we got our own flaws and things that we need to address. But at the same time, when we are building, we need to build together. We got to have some type of unity. Because how are we going to complain about something that we don't want to fix? Ain't your mama told you when you was a kid, well, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all? If you don't want to be a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We got to start doing reality checks within ourselves. Where's our great leader? Why you ain't the great leader? Why you always looking for somebody else to do the sacrifice? Why you always want somebody else to stand up for what you can stand up for? Why isn't it you? You got another day.
Ask them again. Why isn't it you?
Come on now. How many people are in the graveyard for you to have what you have right now? How many ancestors survived the boat ride? How many ancestors gotten beaten? How many of them got whipped? How many of them got killed? How many of them got raped, abused? How many women had to breastfeed other children that wasn't theirs? Have you forgot?
We're so comfortable that we act like this is all behind us. If it were behind us, you would not be sitting here speaking your piece, telling your story today. If it were truly behind us.
We get conditioned, Ava. 9/11. Never forget 9/11, but forget slavery.
Oh gosh. Okay, don't start it.
But you got to know your rights. You got to know your rights. That's why shout out to Colin Kaepernick. Shout out to Ryan Coogler from Fruitvale Station. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan and take a risk to play that character. Shout out for the people who made these sacrifices for us to have what we have today. Shout out to all my active warriors that want to stand up to say, hey, we can make a change. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle who lost his life and said the marathon continues. But it's only a marathon because we're not united doing it together. Because if we were united, it would be a sprint. What are we doing?
Wow. If we were united, it would be a sprint.
And I'm not judging y'all. I got my flaws.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like, look at him, he up there trying to act like Mr. Perfect. I am not perfect.
Right.
Period. I got flaws that I'm working on. I am growing. I am a work in progress. I just know who I am. And I know that I would rather stand for something than die for nothing. I love y'all. I love me. But we got to stop hating on each other the way we hate on each other.
Amen.
Ice Cube came up with a plan. Guess what? Everybody has something to say. But my question is to y'all, everyone who has something to say, did you come up with a plan? I'm not saying his plan was right. I'm not saying it's wrong because I don't know all of his plan. What I'm saying is he took the time to do something that you weren't willing to do. So why are you sitting there judging about what somebody else was willing to do when you could do the same thing? Come up with a plan. Okay, so everybody who judges Cube, dope, no problem. Come up with a plan. Let's get together. Let's create a think tank. Let's do something instead of just
judging.
That
goes back to what you said. Yeah, why isn't it you? It doesn't. Nobody's asking you to do something grandiose and out of this world. It could be the smallest thing, but there's a certain level of comfort here where people are doing very, very little and just cruising through life in their Nike sneakers and their Nissan cars and all of the blessings that they have been able to obtain because of our ancestors.
Facts. Somebody made a sacrifice for you to be here. What sacrifice are you making?
What sacrifice are you going to make?
Somebody's coming after you. There are children that's coming after you. How are we going to leave the world?
What are they seeing? Right.
What are we doing? How do we get so lost? Why are we so confused? Where's the love? Where's the love for one another?
So the two things that are truly, truly jumping out of this conversation to me, are strength. Strength, yes. I got strength. I got fearlessness. And I would like to use this opportunity to segue into inviting, again, your phenomenal mother onto the stream with an undertone of strength and fearlessness. I mean, to say that I'm humbled, it doesn't do its feeling justice to be able to speak to both you and your mother. I'm so grateful. So I'm going to bring her on and get her set up.
Hello, Ava. Hello, Carlos.
What's up, Mom? Talk to
I'm enjoying the show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to virtually meet you. If you don't mind, before we get started, do you mind turning your phone so that it's in landscape mode, please?
Turn it.
It should change the yes.
You
Thank you so much. We are in business. Shirley-Ann, thank you, because I know that there are other things that you could be doing, and I appreciate you investing time and energy into coming on the platform and having this conversation. I truly appreciate it. Based on all that we have said so far, all that King has said so far, I've got so many questions. Here's the first very honest woman-to-woman question that I have. Although I don't have children yet, this is what genuinely popped into my head.
Okay.
How do you feel, and what do you think when you see and hear your son speak with such conviction and passion and intellect about his experiences, about his spirit, as his mother? What do you feel?
Power to the people.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, I first and foremost honor God, truly, who has kept me. And I was a very young mom when I had my children. I was a single mom, and the strength that my mother gave me. So when I hear my son, Carlos, and even my son, Marquise, and my daughter, Trust, when I hear them speak, I do hear strength. I do hear fearlessness. And I'm just, the word that came to me was a description of an animal like the peacock. You know how the peacock takes the feathers and they fan out and they're just showing off. so literally, that is what I get, because truthfully, they're my report card. They are the reflection as to what I shared with them, how I trained and how I raised them. They are the reflection as to how well I did or did not do my job.
Wow.
Even though they make their own choices and decisions, I still see some of the seasoning or some of the sauce that I gave to them showing up.
You talk.
King, we're clearly not needed here. Clearly, Shirley-Ann should just have her own podcast.
So, yeah, I've had a show though on Blog Talk, and
I'm not surprised.
I'm really considering. I'm desiring and wanting to bring it back, but it's easy for me to talk and to flow like that when again, I was behind the stage listening to you all. I was watching your non-verbs. You're very humble. And
Thank you.
I would say you hold a poker face pretty good, but not really good. But you could just see the humility exuding from you when my son was complimenting you and his speaking. And
Thank you.
I say what I say because I'm seeing the results of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So when my
Yes.
son was getting beat up by that cop and he was like, he said, Mom, I told my wife, the Lord has got us and da 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 da. I'm like, Carlos? Wow. Okay. So what I was
Wow.
instilling in the making of going to he came up in the generation where they were made to go to church if you were at home, and he
Yes.
was made to go more than
Same.
one time a day.
Mm-hmm.
And but see the disconnect, what I think, and to stay on topic with you though, I think the disconnect with some of that is we have lost those values as people of color, because our foundation, in spirituality is who we really are. We're more spirit than we are this melon that people see. And I think what
Absolutely.
has happened through integration, we changed our spirituality for the melanism, not realizing that it was really what was on the inside of us, the
Yeah.
toughness, the endurance, the resilience, the power of God that we knew that was keeping us, that
Yeah.
kept us, that we exchanged for dollars, or we exchanged for a neighborhood, or we exchanged for an education that we thought we were going to get that we never really got, or we
Wow.
exchanged because we felt like those individuals, in this case, um, the Caucasian, I was trying to think of the other man, of the other name that I heard somebody else use, the from another show that I was just listening to. But the bottom line was we exchanged all of those things for our foundation. And this is why I believe that we have what we have. But when we are imparting in our children, we get the results like we're getting from Carlos right now today.
Yeah. Yeah. So necessary, and so many people need to hear exactly what your mother has instilled in you, exactly what you have now instilled in your children. It has to be amplified. More people need to hear the results of all of your hard work, all of your strength. Now, when it
Yeah.
comes to ancestry,
Mm-hmm.
um, what are your ancestral details? What comes to mind? You mentioned your mother being strength, having strength, and giving that to you. What are some of the things that you know she has overcome? Maybe her parents have overcome. Things that you've experienced. What do you know has been, and I don't remember, King, if I said this on the phone with you, generational blessings. Everybody's talking about
Yes.
generational curses. Nobody's talking about the blessings. Let me know what you know you've been blessed with down the line.
Is
Yeah.
that for King?
Oh no, that was for you, Shirley. And King, I'm
Oh.
about to just kick you off the stream. Me and Mom go have a chat.
So what I know, so just so you know, just a little bit of history, because King never got to meet his grandmother. And I was an
Okay.
11-year-old girl when my mom passed away. And so the things I
Mm.
remember from my mother was, again, church. And I mean, we went 5 times: Sunday school, 11 o'clock,
Yep.
3 o'clock, 5 o'clock,
All of the
BTU,
services.
and 7, all
Every
of the
service.
services. But what I know, and I know my mom, she had bought a home for us. My mom was married to my stepfather, and my mother was passed away with cancer. But I still saw the strength that Olitha, her name was Olitha, that she
Yeah.
brought to the table. She was a very, very strong woman, and she ensured. I have 2 other sisters. She ensured that she kept all of us, and it all goes back to the church. So the generational blessing for me is the introduction to the Lord Jesus Christ. I promise you.
Amen.
And there's times that I miss my mom, that I wish I could have conversations with my mom. But the blessing again is I realize is that my mom really does live through me
Yes.
because of what she imparted in me. It is manifesting itself. And is there room for growth and all that? Absolutely so. But
Yeah.
I know without a shadow of a doubt, nothing on my own, that I'm blessed because of the prayers. And I said that my mom, I believe anyway, made a deal with God that she knew she
Right.
was going to go. And she said, I will teach my daughters about you if you promise me that you will keep them. All 3 of us have outlived our mother. Our mother was like 38 when she passed away, and every
Yeah.
last one of us have outlived her. And we
Hmm.
we all have our journey, but we are 3 strong Black women that we're still
Amen.
growing, but we're powerful. They've each got their own story. Um, So we're blessed. And I say, because of that blessing flows to our children and their children and their children, because I don't forget to impart it. And I have a granddaughter, which lets me know that this is true. I have a granddaughter, Tashana, who called me up. No, she texted me and she asked me what time did I get up in the mornings. And I get up in the mornings for prayer. But she said to me, well, Grandma, I don't pray like I need to pray. Now, she brought this to me.
How old
And
is
she
she?
said to me, I would like to have prayer with you in the mornings. So
Oh my
every
goodness.
morning, Monday through Friday, Tashana and I have prayer. And Tashana, we do prayer requests and we do the scriptures. And so I think we've been going like 3 weeks
Oh
now.
my
And
goodness.
we exchange where she gets to lead the calls. And that just blew me away when Tashana texted me and said, Grandma, I want to have prayer with you. I want us to
My
pray
goodness.
together. Yeah.
And how
So
old is
that's a
Tashana?
blessing. Tashana's 21. So Ava, I commend you for changing, because I was going to say to you, for me, it's not religious. It is
Mhm.
spirituality.
See,
It is
okay,
a connection,
okay, hang
and it's a deeper connection within one's self. And
on.
so
Yes.
when one understands their spiritual connection, then there is always warfare, because of
Always.
the simple fact that the natural conflicts with the spirit. And this
Yep.
is why we are engaging in the war. So King's
Yep.
situation could have turned out totally different, but
Yes.
because his spirit man took charge of the situation, it
Yeah.
ended the way it ended.
That
Otherwise,
spirit
it
man
would
that
have
had the
been
strength and
totally
foundation that
different.
you imparted. Yes.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
critical. It's critical to know what battle we are in and why we're in the battle. I love the fact that he said that when he came out of this, he came out of it fearlessly. It made him
Wow.
like be able to face fear. And for myself, for me, death is like, okay, and next, because I had an
Mm.
experience of losing a spouse. And it's like, okay, okay, got it. It might seem morbid for some people, but it's a matter of when we come face to face with different things on our journey, and we won't face them all at the same time. you
Right.
know some things we'll still run from or we'll hide from, but it'll meet us again, and we'll have to face it and deal with it. And the only thing that it can do is really make you a better person, because once you conquer it, um I thought about when King was talking David, when he went and he met Goliath, and everybody
Yep.
else was afraid or whatever. And then David
Yep.
says, well, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Have you lost your mind? Do you not know who you're dealing with? Because he had
Yes.
the confidence of God in him. You know what I mean? And so our
Wow.
presence, when we walk in certain areas, everybody can't handle our presence. And it's
Nope.
not because of the external, but it's really because they've tapped into the spiritual
I
of
want,
you.
Amen.
I wanted to say this as well because I know we have different listeners on the show. For me, when people say church, I think they get church mixed up with sanctuary. And I think the two
Right.
words have been twisted, because the church is nothing but a building. Excuse me, the sanctuary is a building. It's not the
Right.
church. You're the church.
Yep.
The
You're the
body,
church.
Yeah.
spirit, separate. So for me, I don't have to be in the building every day to have a relationship every
Yeah.
single day. So some
Amen.
people get caught in the building and have no relationship and wonder why there's no changes. I'm not judging
Right. 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 Right.
has what they
Yeah.
have. I'm not judging for who believes in what they believe, as long as they believe in something bigger than them, whatever that thing that's bigger than them is. But that's the relationship.
Mm.
When you have a relationship, to me, that's bigger than sitting inside a building. Now, when we come together, there's power in unity. So I do
Yes.
understand coming to the sanctuary together, but understanding that that's a building, that I am the church. I am the representation. So for me, having a relationship with my higher power, whatever someone wants to call that, is way more important than sitting in a building, because we could have church
Yes.
right now on the Zoom call. And it's not because
Which
we're,
I feel like we're doing, for the record. This
you know,
feels a lot like church, okay?
so I just want
I'm glad you said it.
I wanted to clarify that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know we have people who might be Muslim, who might be whatever, Buddhist or whatever else.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with you having your relationship, understanding that something's more bigger than you, someone, a creator. So I wanted to tap into relationship and making sure that you check in on a relationship. Because if we're dating and I'm dating, don't take this wrong, internet. Let's say I'm dating my mother. No, we're not kissing cousins from Alabama. I'm just talking about a relationship. I
We're
know
not
Whoa,
talking
whoa, what
about
you
the
trying to say
Bible.
about Alabama?
I'm just saying, hey. So I'm just saying, like, for an example, if I'm dating her, then I'm going to check in with her. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on with you?
Yeah.
What's bothering you today? I'm going to check in with the person I'm in a relationship with. So how many times do we actually check in the person spiritually that we claim that we're in a relationship with? If God gave you your first breath when you woke up, did you say thank you? You know what I'm saying? Do we check in with the person that we claim that is our higher power? Do we check in on our relationship and say, hey, what's going on with you? Do we argue? Do we go back and forth? That is the relationship. That's what I mean by that.
And I love how you just brought that full circle to the fact that you had argued with God before. I will not let you forget that part. That was a very important point that you drove home, where, you know, maybe he whispers at first, maybe he says your name with a little bass in his voice, that, you know, next, and then after that, he might just have to lay hands. But, wow, absolutely beautiful. And thank you for your explanation of just your ancestral background, your generational lessons, and tying it all together. I am speechless. I know that sigh, it's happened multiple times now because of what the two of you bring to the table. I'm absolutely floored. So to bring it to the relevance of the specific situation that King experienced, that you also experienced as a mother.
Yeah.
What was helping you? Aside, we know that prayer, there's power in prayer. We know that prayer works. What was helping you get through this process as you supported him in fighting passionately since the day of this incident? His decision to work as hard as he has worked on this story being known and seen by the world, by people who truly need to know that this happened, or who need to understand how to get through this if it happened to them, which I can't even believe I have to say that in 2021, but what are some of the things that you know you had to do, the things that helped you get through supporting him?
So obviously you've hit the foundation. And so we know if we have a strong foundation, then the rest of the house can handle. You may get some shattered windows, you know, with the tornado, the windstorms or whatever, but the foundation is what's very critical. So I too was serving in the Army at the time. The incident happened with Carlos. And again, growing up as a single mom, I also knew that I had to be very present for my children. And it was not about me, but it was about me. It was about me being strong and present for them. But my life, I literally gave up for them to be a good mom to them, right? So I've always also had strong, seasoned Christian women, older women in my life. It goes back again with Titus. The older should teach the younger. And so I always had them as a sounding board where I could process things back with them. Because when the situation happened with King, June, your thing happened in October, about 90 days or so, say June, July, August, September, October. So about 5 months prior, I had lost my husband. So I had to deal with that. And then there was King's situation that I needed to deal with. And so there comes this resilience. You know, there's something about us. And Ava, you'll discover that as well if you have not already discovered it. Something toughens you internally that says, I'm going to get through this at all costs, no matter what. So in this case, for me, it was about being supportive for him in his crisis, because I lived in Virginia and he was here in South Carolina. And I almost wanted to say it was somewhat destined to some degree, because he may not remember this. And I never, ever desired to be in South Carolina. In fact, I'm here in South Carolina, and he booked up and went on. But when he was a little boy, I think he might have been in the 3rd or 4th grade or something, but they used to have meat trays. And he had an art project that he needed to do. And he used the white cardboard of the meat tray. And he had to use beans, and he had to use macaroni. And he actually kind of set up like an, I guess, island kind of like. But on that, it was the South Carolina flag, the palmetto tree, literally. Yes. I lost my stuff in my storage, so I can't show it to you, but literally, yes. So I knew that South Carolina was a part of this situation, because I've never, ever been stationed in South Carolina. So he was in South Carolina. I was in Virginia. I'll never forget when he called. Again, things happen for purposes and for reasons. My husband had died 5 months prior, which meant I had a significant amount of money at disposal. So when he needed money, it was no issue. God had set it up so that money would be
Wow.
available
Yeah, that
for
part,
him
I know about that.
because
Wow. Oh my
I had that
goodness.
money,
I know about
then
that.
I could have not assisted him.
Yeah, that part's true.
So it would have been, you know, what came to my mind just then was a Sandra Bland incident, unfortunately, because somebody didn't have $500, but I had that money
Mm.
in place that I could
All
use.
right.
Mm. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah. And it was thousands of dollars. It wasn't hundreds of dollars. It was thousands of dollars. And it was that we could literally pay the attorney in full. And it wasn't, I need you to take a payment. I need you to do pro bono, whatever. It was like, here's the cash.
Yeah.
Not only was the cash available for him, but it was also available for his ex-wife.
Yeah.
So there was more than enough to take care of whatever. And so the mindset of some of the people were, who are you? Who do you guys think you are? No, my mindset was, who do you think you are? Because I know who I am, right? And so I would be on the road from, because I had not retired. In fact, I retired in October, actually. Because, Carlos, we did my retirement before the incident, correct?
I don't know. I mean, my incident was October 24th, 2005.
Oh, you know what? I retired 3 years later. That's right. Okay. I retired 3 years later, stayed in the Army 3 years. But so, mind you, that's even more intense. For 3 years, I was back and forth from Virginia to South Carolina over the weekends because I could not believe the way the Army was treating my son. Yep. So God, again, had set it up for Carlos King to have, again, another iron in his fire, should I say, or another spear to go with his arrow. Yeah. Because I was in the Army, and so I understood the concept of the Army. Had I not been a part of that part, it's not about me, so I don't want like I'm tooting me, but I'm just saying.
No, I understand what you mean.
Me, then he definitely would have gotten railroaded over.
Yeah, very true.
But I knew enough of the system so that could not happen for his process. I mean, there was times he'd be like, "Mom, just calm down. It's okay. I'm facing time." And I'm like, "No, these jokers need to know how to do what they're supposed to do because that's not how we treat soldiers." Wow. No matter what. And I remember there was times that he would call me up and he's like, he's working from his car. They've thrown his food. I'm like, what kind of Army is this? I mean, it just
they were throwing my food away. They were throwing my food away. They were giving me Article 15s. They were taking my money. They wouldn't let me get promoted no more. They denied me surgery. They tried to illegally send me to Korea. I went to the NAACP to ask for help. The NAACP was like, how much money are you donating to us? I reached out to the Rainbow Push, ACLU, all these other organizations. Nobody wanted to help. And I mean, it was madness. I wrote, my mom was stationed in Alaska. So I wrote the congressman, Mr. Don Young in Alaska. He wrote a statement to help me out because they tried to wrongfully send me to Korea. So shout out to Mr. Don Young, congressman in Alaska during the time frame. It got so wild. It was perfect. And that's how funny things are. Because when I went to court and they found out I wasn't guilty, all of a sudden it was, oh crap, we've messed up. And he can prove it. Because here's the thing, you said, what helps you get through it? You know, spiritual foundation, of course. Being smart is another. You know, being under control is another. The forgiveness and having that peace so that way when people do push you, you just don't blow over. Because a tree will only stand if it has deep roots. So when the wind blows, it knows how to withhold with what happens. So all those attacks that happened on me, you know, I was able to stand because of the deep roots of the foundation that I had from growing up as a kid, right? So documentation beats conversation any day.
Every day.
Every day of the week.
Every day. Yeah,
documentation. I documented everything. Every time they screwed me up, I wrote it down, wrote the date, wrote who did it, boom, boom, boom. I documented. I had a log. I had a ledger. Every time someone denied me, I wrote about it and I talked about it. Okay, no problem. Sure. Right. What you say?
Yeah, but mind you, it was journaled because he had to add other things with that because technically you really can't document other people like that. So it was a journal. So I'm saying that in case your audience.
I completely understand.
Whatever you want, you can document for yourself, whatever you want to document for your own life journal about the things that you experience. That's how people write books.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I use the term journaling. You know, I mean, it's semantic,
just in case.
Right. So because you wouldn't want someone to come and say, "Oh, you were doing this like this," and you may have been right, but because of semantics, and if you don't understand the games, the rules of the games, then you know how they say inadmissible evidence, even though the evidence should be admitted, because someone slipped up or they didn't understand the concept or whatever.
I love you, but the truth don't change. And when
You
It don't matter
journaled. You journaled. Yes.
yeah. When you telling the truth, it don't change. Because the problem is that when I won't call it the enemy, but the opposition or the antagonist comes at you, he will ask you different type of questions to get you to change your truth. But when you know truth, it doesn't matter how they reword the question because your answer is the same.
Well, because truth is truth.
The system will try to get you to say something different based off of what you said the first time by rewording a certain word, by trying to change your emotion or your feeling. But if you know what is true, what's coming out your mouth, and you're deeply rooted in your own truth, can't nobody change what you're saying.
Exactly.
Just knowing who you are and knowing your truth and being honest.
Right.
Not trying to manipulate, because when you lie, then you have to try to remember the lie to cover the lie. They'll eventually catch up because the lie will always come out eventually. But when you're standing in truth, and you're documenting your truth, I don't care what they ask you. The truth is the truth.
Yeah. And I think in adding with that, the truth being the truth, you are willing to die for truth. It doesn't matter, because that's what it is. Understanding that truth has consequences, such as lies having consequences. Because there's always a consequence.
The truth sometimes has
to that situation. So it was very it was interesting.
To say the least.
It was, it was adventurous. There's a side of me, and I said I should have went to law school, and I did not. But there's a side of me where it's that investigative, and that again, that dotting that I and crossing that T. I've been accused of never wanting to be wrong, so I try to balance that, because you got to have a balance with that, right? But when you are just, you know what? Here's the deal. It's your convictions, right?
This is you and I. This is gonna be you and I, Shirley. We're gonna get him out of here. He played too much.
So it's your convictions, and you have to find out, what are you convicted about, and what are you willing to sacrifice for. So that meant the tools and the trainings and things, not only through just life, but that I learned in the Army. I had to also implement those tools in this process of walking this thing out with King, to be supportive, because I would have not been supported had I broke down. But in the same token, I also knew that him being my son and knowing his personality, I had to kick him in the butt too. What do I mean by that? To not allow depression to set in, to not allow a woe is me to set in, to not allow, well, how come me? I didn't do anything. His title is perfect, A War on Friendly Grounds. I just came back from the waters. We're fighting for this country, and then for me to experience this type of treatment in this country, I mean, which was kind of maybe for him an awakening, and maybe not, as far as I'm concerned. This has always been the narrative of this country, and I'm not hateful, and I'm not evil towards anybody, but I'm very truthful. It doesn't mean that everybody thinks that way, but because you have good people regardless to the race. Again, remember our earlier conversation, I was talking about, it wasn't the external, it was what was going on inside, what's happening in your heart. And that's why we're able to connect with different people. But it is an evil when you do things to try to belittle others, or take what your thought process is. Let's just use the term racism. You can be racist. Everybody's got some portion of that within their system. The problem is when you take your actions and you execute them against someone else, then that becomes a problem. Because you can have those views. We're prejudiced. There's certain things you're aware. There's certain foods you eat, you don't eat, or whatever. We all have biases. It's the challenges is when we take those biases and we inflict them on others, and we expect for others to comply because we feel that, or one might think that they're superior to another. See, it really has to do with superiority. In my mindset, it was like when people belittle other people, the truth of the matter is they are not confident in who they are, and they don't know who they are. And as a result of your power, they're afraid of it, and they don't understand it, and you're a threat to them. And so therefore they need to subdue you so that they can be powerful. The Napoleon complex.
This is where me and my mother differ. We differ on this, right? And where we differ is
I thought you got rid of him. No.
I don't think that, that's messed up. I ain't invite you in the interview. No, I don't think that our culture as a people can be racist. And the reason why I feel this way is because we were never in America, for America, right? We have never been put in the position to have the power to construct systems to oppress someone else. So if we're not being able to oppress someone else from getting jobs, from blocking them from money, from blocking these, how can we be racist towards that when we're not in a position or having the power to be able to subdue or create a system like the Willie Lynch letter to stop other racists from being able to achieve? Now, if you want to go back in the day and you want to talk about the Moors, that's a whole different conversation. But the system that's built right now, the perfect system that we're living in, that we're fighting against, that we have to become the antivirus to, in this system, I don't think we've ever had the chance to be the oppressor. We've always been oppressed.
Well, and to some degree, I can agree with you there, but let's go a little bit deeper. The tools that maybe the cockacoid use to oppress the negroid, right? We do it internally within ourselves. So we can be racist internally, and we can exude. Because so I move from, not me personally, but I'm just person moves from the ghetto over to the east side or the northeast side where everybody's booming, but everybody else has left because they went over to the west side because they didn't want you around them anyway. So you forgot that you came from what they call the ghetto and also boosting up the ghetto, and you feel as that you're better than someone else because they don't have what you have, when all this crap is vanity.
But would that not come from the systemic oppression that of the boiling frog syndrome, where you put people in the pot for so long, and then once you're able to escape, you look at it differently because of the oppression that was oppressed upon you?
I mean, that's a possibility, but at the same token, one of the things that I love about us, that we as a people and just human beings, we fail to realize, is that we are the most powerful computer that has ever been invented, and we have the power of pushing the button of execute and or delete. We get to choose how we are going to respond to someone else. Even if I have my own shortcomings, I get to choose if I'm going to inflict my shortcomings on you. People say hurt people, hurt people. There's some truth to that. However, I could have been hurt in the situation, and you can be in that same situation, but that doesn't give me the reason, the ability to want to hurt you. I can also have a change of mindset and a change of heart.
True, but we have to understand the manipulation has happened since the beginning of time, when the between Adam and Eve and the snake, people blame Eve, but it was never Eve. It was always Adam whose covenant was broken, because Eve never broke the covenant. Adam did. So because of manipulation or systemic oppression, where people get manipulated to see things over and over again, will change mindsets. That's how people become conditioned and brainwashed. So if I brainwash you to believe something to be true that is actually false, you would know the difference between true and false anyway. And you would think that your truth is your truth, but your truth is actually the truth I told you to say.
Well, so for me, I'm a little bit different because I don't necessarily believe that 2 + 2 has to be 4.
Respect.
You know what I mean? And if we use the Adam and Eve syndrome, and I cannot say that I've drawn this up because I heard it again, and I'm so glad that I'm being open to a whole bunch of stuff. You know, the enemy has always despised unity. So when you think about it, before Eve showed up, you never heard anything about the serpent or the devil. It wasn't until after she showed up when you heard about the devil.
Well, that's because if you look at systemic oppression, when it's black man, it has always been used through women to break the black man, because they was never able to break the black man without women. So they expect women to break us, and then that breaks the home, because the union would be God, man, wife, children. But if you move men out the equation, women have to step up to be protected, and that's why you have women feeling like they have to be so masculine, and they are not able to walk in their femininity because there's no man in place to be able to give them the room to have that. Then that goes and trickles off into the children, and then you have the systemic oppression that's happening continuously, which is a vicious.
100%. I have never been one to understand what integration really did for us on a positive note. 100% in what you just said. But the disconnect, I think, also with us is, and it goes back to the synthetic process that you're speaking of, and I truly believe the Willie Lynch letters were true. But it goes back to this. So in order to get God, man, wife, children, this order, then man has to be literally 100% following God at all costs. And he's leading. He's not out there. He's not out there playing games. He's not out there winking his eye at somebody else. He's not calling his woman a bee. I mean, he is before his God, leading his family, and after he gets the order, he's sitting down with his family. Him and his wife are praying together. There's so many disorders that are happening and that have happened, and then I think a lot of times we want to come back to the true origin of the narrative, but we don't want to be obedient to what God has said, but we want to get the blessings. So you're not going to get the blessings if you're not obedient. It's just simple.
And that's why I say most people don't understand responsibility. Responsibility is to respond, but most people are too lazy to respond because they would rather complain about what they're at in the situation.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 100%. So we take that accountability of family and what family really looks like. So to go kind of back to what you were saying, Ava, for myself, to bring it with King, I recognize that, we're family, and that's a part of my lineage, and it's very critical and very important for me to to be there to support him, to show him, and to pull out of him what it is that's in him, and not to abandon him in his
Amen.
situation. You know what I mean? I mean, because every day wasn't rosy. But the bottom
Well,
line was, dude,
a lot of
my
tears.
assignment as your mom is to help you get to another space so that you can get to where you need to be.
Now,
And
speaking
guess
about
what?
space,
He's doing that.
hold tight, Mom. Speaking about space, that's so funny that you said that, because when I was going through my depression and I was going through my sadness, because people think they see the film festivals and they see the, oh, you're winning and you're acting, they see the finish line, right? But they don't understand the pain of the race. They don't understand when you're getting tired and you don't want to run no more, you don't want to do this no more, you just want to quit. And the marathon of the race, and somebody on the sideline being there to give you Gatorade because you need something to drink so that way you can continue on. So I appreciate you being on the sideline giving me the Gatorade. But because you said space, it made me think of CEO space, which
Absolutely.
I got to the conversation earlier about the Kobe Bryant conversation with the young lady who's no longer here, the goddess Lahadi, because someone else saw something in me that I didn't see while I was going through what I went through that helped me bring light to where I am now. You know what I mean? And like her conversation was just so dope, because sometimes it's not who says it, it's how the person says it, and when the person says it, that ignites the fire that allow you to understand that, oh, I can move. That's why churches and, man, this pastor don't fit me. It's not that she just might not be the one that needs to speak that into your life. It might be the bum on the street. You never know who that person might be. He give you the right word to help change who you are to get you where you need to go. You know, so circling this background, that's why I say you got to be grateful for your problems. It's in a weird way, I'm grateful that I got beat up by the police. In a weird way, right? Because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have the book. I wouldn't have the movie. I wouldn't be able to speak into other people's lives about an issue because I never faced the issue. And how can you speak about something that you've never been through? But because now I've been through it, I can share my testimony. You can't have a testimony without a test, but yet you got to be willing to endure the test to be able to share the testimony. Because a testimony is no more than a person sharing what they've been through and now how they're happy about the results of their choices. So many times we get the test, we never get to share the testimony because we're so worried about the test. But the test is there for you to get to the next level in life. So in class, you'll never graduate until you pass the test. In a video game, you'll never get to the next level until you defeat the boss. That's why sometimes you can go into a different neighborhood and face the same problems that you faced in your old neighborhood because you never passed the test. The location doesn't change the test. It's just looking differently, dressed up differently. It's the same thing that you have to go through. So you have to face the test to be able to get to where you need to be in life. If you're stuck, it's because maybe you haven't passed that test. Maybe you're too busy trying to dodge the test, procrastinate on the test. But don't worry, the test is still waiting on you. Don't matter if the light turn green, the next light's going to turn red. You can't escape where the test is going to show up and hit you in the face. Eventually, you're going to allow the test to get the best of you and complain about it, or you're going to pass the test to get to where you need to be. The question is, are you willing to do the work to figure out the answers to pass the test?
And I think that we all get into that space, because interesting, you took your fist and hit in the other fist, because I also reflected back, instead of you taking out your anxiety on the police, you remember when you hit the wall?
Of course.
You know, and so that was a way that you did a release, but you hit the wall. Unfortunately, it could have broke your hand, but you hit the wall in a safe place where it didn't involve anybody else. So I want others to also see that you did have some form of frustration, and there was this antsiness or anxiety of what it was. And, you know, despite my also going through, because I was grieving, you know, still at that process, I guess what I'm saying in this part here, maybe to speak to someone else in the audience, if you've got a situation that's happening, and then for whatever reason, you're thrown into another situation that involves someone else that's challenging, you get to choose, depending on how strong you feel you are or not with your situation, but you get to choose if you're going to help that other person get through their situation. And so my helping my son get through his situation also provided an escape for me. And, you know, as he was processing, there was a scripture that come to my mind, which is really Romans 8:28. Look, I am who I am. I respect your audience for who they are and where they are. I mean, my strength is just in Christ. And the scripture said, and we know that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. And then he tells us in Jeremiah, I know the plans that I have for you, plans of good and not of evil, but with an expected end. And the bottom line is, if we could just go through, don't get stuck in it. Find somebody to help you pull through. You know, in Michigan, when you got stuck in the snow, you could rock the car, and which meant you could dig the hole deeper and the car never gets out. Or you could humble yourself and allow a tow truck to come pull you out, or somebody else to push you. But you can never really technically get out by yourself if you're stuck. And I don't agree with suicide, but for anybody that might even consider that, I understand that space if you're not connected with the source, which is your creator. And if you don't have somebody speaking life into you that really understands where you are, but they care enough about you to help you change your mindset so that you can care about you, because there'll never, ever be another you.
Let me tell you something, like, since we're talking about the situation. First of all,
I need tissues. I need tissues.
I'm gonna go ahead. First and foremost, we ain't never freed up nothing. Black folks ain't never freed nothing.
Thank you. Thanks.
Understand that. We ain't never freed nothing. It took every color in the crayon box for us to be able to have the freedoms that we have, right? One. Secondly, I didn't do nothing by myself to get out of this situation. It was by the grace of God that he allows people to be in certain positions, even when I didn't know that they was there. So to go into the story, I was doing a uniform inspection for one second, real quick, Miss Ada.
Oh, well, while he's got him paused, this is what I want to also do is send a shout out, and he's probably hearing me, to police abuse. King, I don't know if you ever spoke about police abuse, but police abuse is definitely was another good tool and resource for us to utilize to help.
Wonderful.
So we connected with Kamal and his wife, and Earl Graham, because he turned us on to that. As a resource to know how to do investigative things as well, to help his case move forward. But it was his case, King's case, was strategically designed by God, on point, on purpose, for a reason.
Hear that.
So this is the day that it happened, Ava. I had just got back. We had just got back from Germany, me and my ex or whatever else. We were stationed in Germany. We got stationed at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. She had just got out the military because she fought in Iraq or whatever else. Was pursuing to become a nurse. So I was newly promoted, was sergeant. Sergeant Martin had a soldier up under me, so I was doing Class A inspections with my soldiers or whatever else. PFC Carlisle was the last soldier of the day that I was taking care of. I did a uniform inspection, which is basically when we have to wear our dress uniforms. You check the awards and everything else to make sure that it's dressed right, dressed, and it looks nice for the next day. So I did my uniform inspection, and I was on my way home. Mind you, I might have lived, what you think, Mom, like 3 miles from the base? 3, maybe 4 miles? Give or take.
Wow, really? Oh my goodness, that's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't even that far. You know what I mean? You cross the bridge, you see Walmart right there. You turn right and then not Polo Common, but Quail Run is right there, or whatever else. Right?
Yeah, 2 to 3 miles.
Okay. Wow. So on the way home, I entered to the neighborhood. The police officer's already there. Mind you, police officers drive through apartments all the time. No big deal. I was very known in the neighborhood. I used to play semi-pro football. Shout out to Coach Jackson for the Carolina Titans. I played wide receiver or whatever else, and different cornerback. So I used to take the kids to my games. They used to hold the down markers. They used to come to my house and party for like Halloween, or I used to play football with the kids out in the yard and everything else. So I was very well known, very popular in the neighborhood, right? So as the cop was there, I'm riding behind the officer, mind you. Now we all know that if you look at a big apartment complex, it's usually shaped like a big square, and inside the square, the parking lots are shaped like rectangles. So when I'm following behind the officer, he makes a left, and then he makes a left going towards down my apartment. He goes through the parking lot, which is shaped like a rectangle. So I enter and I go into the rectangle. We eventually become parallel. I say, "What's up?" Trying to be kind, respectful. He wrote in his police report that he felt like I was teasing him by bobbing my head. How do you tease somebody by bobbing your head? I don't know.
Taunting. Taunting was the word.
Okay, well, taunting. Thank you. By bobbing my head. Whatever. I'm driving to my crib. I park my car. I get out my car. I turn off my car and I walk towards the door. Mind you, I'm no longer in my vehicle. As I'm about to put the keys in the keys in the door, I hear a car peel off. So naturally, I turn around to see what's going on. I see an officer approaching me from behind me. Hey you, come here. Who, me? Yeah, you. I'm out here for a noise violation. Well, it couldn't have been me, sir. I just got home from work. Now, mind you, earlier I said God puts people in places for certain reasons, even when you don't know it. What I didn't know was the police officer's mother was home. The officer wasn't home. The police mother was outside when all this was taking place. So he asked me for my license and registration. I lost my picture license in Germany. So I was a resident of Alaska. So DMV from Alaska was going to send me a new picture license. But until then, they sent me a paper license. A paper license is a legal document to drive on. So when the officer asked me for my license and registration, I handed him my documents. When I handed him the paper license, he was like, "Well, what the hell is this?" And I said, "Dude, if you could just calm down, you can see I'm a soldier. And I just got back from Germany. You will not address me as dude." "Okay, well, you address me by hey you." "Well, that's because I don't know your name." Well, hell, I don't know your name either, right? Next thing you know, boom, slams me down to the ground. Boom, 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 starts punching on me or whatever else. Now, this is what I'm telling y'all that I didn't know, and this is just God. The young lady runs downstairs. Hurry up, they outside, they're beating up on your husband. Now, I don't know any of this because I'm outside and I'm on the ground, I'm getting punched on, I'm trying to protect myself. So he's making all these racial statements, how he's glad Johnny Cochran is dead, welcome to the South, I'm nothing but another black statistic, all these different things. So she comes out in a panic and I'm telling her, I'm okay, stay back. When I said that, the officer got even more pissed, so he took out a can of mace and he used the whole can of mace on me. Now, I didn't react like the normal civilian would because mace only works if it gets into your eyes or into your pores and you start scratching your skin. But I know this because as a soldier, we get thrown into the gas chamber and they teach us how to handle this type of situations. So I cover my eyes, hold my other one because he has me handcuffed, and I cover it and I'm protecting myself like this, right? He accused me of being on drugs. Excuse me 1 second. He accused me of being on drugs because I didn't act like the normal civilian would act. So he became even more violent. Wait, other side, there we go, got it. He became even more violent. He started kneeing me, boom, 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 kneeing me in my chest or whatever else. And I'm covering up or whatever else. So she runs back in the house and she goes to get her camera phone. When she gets her camera phone, now this is the flip phone 2005. So videos wasn't a big thing. It was all about taking pictures. So she flips the phone out. She's taking pictures. Bing, 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 bing. Mind you, all the women and children from the neighborhood come out and they see me getting beaten in my military uniform. So the officer starts to panic. 1032, 1032, officer in distress, help, 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 Quail Run Apartments. Mind you, I understand why the other police officers came the way they came. If an officer puts out a code or a call or whatever they want to call it, translated, and a police officer talk, I understand why they arrived to the scene the way they arrived to the scene, right? So, but their job is to assess the scene before they do anything in the scene because that's what they're trained to do. Because I know as a soldier, if I go to war and I break the Geneva Convention Code, I could be treated as a traitor or it would be treason, right? So there's rules of engagement that you have to follow. So there's a difference between following your police training and being a bully and a murderer. I need people to understand the difference in following your training, because if you follow your training, a lot of these situations wouldn't go down the way they go down. It's because when you go outside of your training that I have a problem with certain officers who do not follow the training, a protocol that they're given. So when the other officers arrived to the scene, he was like, get her black ass, excuse my language, get her black A. She has pictures of me. So they run up on my ex and they throw her into the car. Boom, boom, her hand, she has her cell phone. Just like this, right? I don't know if y'all can see. Let me get the cell phone right. Let me get the angle right. So she dropped the cell phone, hands behind her back. Now she's handcuffed. While she's handcuffed like this, they pick her up by the back of her arms. Boom, and body slam her into the ground face first. Now, mind you, as a man, you can beat me. But to watch your queen get beat in front of you is something totally different that does something to us. Like, to know that you can't protect her, to know that there's nothing that you could do, because if you do something that you could catch a bullet to the head. Now, mind you, I'm on the ground face down with this man on top of me, almost kind of like, you know, no disrespect to Mr. George Floyd, but he didn't have his knee in his neck, he had his knee in my back, right? To sit there and be beaten and handcuffed after protecting my country, I can't explain the pain. I can't explain how bad it hurt to not be able to do something. I'm like, bro, we supposed to be fighting on the same team to make this a better place, and this is how you treat me because of the color of my skin. To sit there and watch her get beat in front of me, and to be wanting to reach out to say, hey, I'm here, it's going to be okay, God got us, everything's going to be all right, but not to know if I'm telling her the truth or not. But I'm just telling her that out of faith, out of what I've been raised to believe. But that day could have been my last day. And then to sit here and watch them call EMS, to watch them EMS get there, and then watch EMS say, we should have known it was Officer Benjamin Fields. That's how we wound up getting his name, because he's had other past situations. Now, mind you, audience, this is the same police officer that beat up the little girl in the South Carolina classroom at Spring Valley High School, where she was sitting in the desk and he flips her on her head and then throws her across the classroom. This is the same officer. The reason why he was at that school is because of what he did to me. They took him off the road, and then he abused another black person in a high school who was, I think she was like 16, 17 years old. So the other officers arrive. We're on the ground. A female officer is supposed to search a female so you can avoid sexual harassment situations. To watch multiple white men, officers, walk over there and frisk her just to feel on her body, and there's nothing that you can do about it. You know what that does to a man? You know what that does to your heart as a person? It's crazy. See, a lot of people judge situations and talk about what you could do, but you're not in the situation. You're not the person with the person on your back. You're not the person that's handcuffed. You're not the person being beaten. You're not the person being maced. You're not the person watching your wife be beaten in front of you. So I understand that you don't understand. I get it, and that's okay, because that comes with the experience. But at the same time, it comes with the humbleness. So to watch her go through all that, I asked for the officer, hey, can you get the cell phone that has pictures of us? Because the black female officer showed up. They treated her as if she wasn't even a part of being a police officer. Deputy Clark goes and grabs the phone. He shows Fields the pictures. Do you know they sat there and went through the pictures and deleted pictures? Just to make sure that the officer looked as if he was in the right position and doing all the right things. But before they did that, they said, hey, we'll give you the phone back if you delete all the pictures. I said, absolutely not. That's our evidence. Why would I do that? He said, don't even worry about it. I'll turn it into evidence for you. And that's when they went through and they deleted it, because, when you have the position of control, you can make a situation look like anything that you want it to look like. Then they called the paddy wagon. When they called the paddy wagon, they put me in first. And then they put her in second. When they were putting her in, they told her that they were going to take her to the hotel. Thank God for the officer that was in the front of the paddy wagon, because he wanted to write in a police statement. This is what I mean by you never know who God got in front of you that hears the situation, that be willing to step up to the plate to do the right thing. So he wrote a statement for us. He said, y'all seem like nice people. I'm sorry y'all went through that. So we went all the way down to the jailhouse. We get to the jailhouse and we're sitting down, we're waiting for them to call our names. You know how embarrassing it is to be in a military uniform and to be locked up? People looking at you. If they're locking up soldiers, I know I don't stand no chance. Then they call her up to get fingerprinted, to get a profile to her. To sit there and have to watch that. And ain't nothing I could do to stop it. To sit there and watch them and process her into the system as if we're some crooks, or if we're doing crime, or everything that we were fighting to protect, to now be looked at like that. Does something to you. And then for me to go up there, be fingerprinted. Wow, wow, boom, 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 boom. When they called her up there, they lied about how tall she was. They're talking about she's 6 foot, 180 pounds. She might have been like 5'4", 120, 130, something like that, because they didn't even recognize her. Then you get the one phone call. So when we got the phone call, we called her aunt, who was a lawyer. We wind up getting out on bail in the morning. Jarrell's mother, the young lady who stepped up to the plate in the middle of an arresting, when she was like, officer, what are you doing to them? They haven't done anything. They pushed her. If you don't get your black A back, you can go to jail with them. So of course, what can she do besides stand back? But at least she was brave enough to call them out on them being wrong. She was the young lady that picked us up in the morning when we got out on bail. When we got out on bail, we went straight to Moncrief Hospital because I wanted everything to be medically documented. I had so much mace on me that they had to open up the doors so that way the doctor could do his job. Now, mind you, this happened overnight. I sat overnight. It was still in my clothes, went to the emergency room, and the doctor still had to open up the doors to be able to check me out, to check all my bruises and everything that happened to us. I get it documented. I tell the first sergeant what happens. My first sergeant said, Sergeant Martin, you've always been a good soldier. You've been soldier of the month, soldier of the quarter. Imagine being soldier of the month. Soldier of the month is when you win a military competition and you're recognized for being the best soldier of the month, kind of like employee of the month. Soldier of the quarter. I'm winning trophies for them, for sports and everything else. I'm newly promoted sergeant. To be faced with that situation. So I was good because he took care of me, right? He had to leave and he got sent to a new duty station. So the new first sergeant comes in. Her name was Penny Walls. Sometimes when women are in a male-dominated industry, they feel as if they have to prove themselves or to show themselves approved. So when she took over and become captain of the ship, she punished me. But I wasn't guilty for anything. But sometimes they say you're innocent until proven guilty, but that's not how life works. I was guilty until proven innocent. I said, First Sergeant, I haven't done anything. Look at my track record. Sergeant Major, I didn't do anything. Look at my track record. Well, why would the police ever do anything like this? Because I'm young, I'm black. Why not? You don't see this happening in the world. This ain't nothing new. But okay, I'm going to get you your proof. So when I reached out to my mother, I told my mother what I was going through. She said, don't worry about it, baby. I'm going to come down and I'm going to take care of you. This is what we're going to do. So when I went out that day, we went back to the police station to go to internal affairs. When I got my internal affairs report, which I will send you a picture. I think I sent you the pictures already, didn't I, Ava?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Internal affairs statement? Okay. So you got questions on there. Well, the officer was so bold, he didn't even try to hide the truth. He was so comfortable in what he was doing because he was used to getting away with it. What's the point of lying about it? The guy who was interviewing him was just looking at him like, are you stupid? Why would you say any of this? Well, see, because when you become spoiled, you become rotten, and it doesn't matter because what's going to happen to me anyway? So he answered all these questions and admitting it, that he did all these different things to us, right? I reached out to the NAACP. Rainbow Push, ACLU. I go back to the military. I'm getting blackballed by the military. My sergeant major, called me a hood rat. And she was like, well, people refer to me as a B. Now, mind you, this is a black woman. I said, sergeant major, just because you say that's okay for you, that ain't okay for me. Because I know how I was raised and I know who I am. And I'm telling you, I did nothing wrong. But see, when you tell them the truth, everyone want to bring you down. So I started writing congressionals. Me and my mother was like, well, this is what we're going to do. I hooked up with Earl Graham. I hooked up with Mr. Canal. So I started putting these little pieces of the puzzle together. I started documenting everything they was doing to me. In order to get to the victory, you're going to have to go through hell sometimes. I cried. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was depressed. I went from being married to living in my own apartment by myself to my mother moving in with me. I went from playing sports and being MVP and winning trophies to not having a team to play for. I went from making decent amount of money to not making no money at all. I went from being soldier of the month to riding king of the hospital, and I became the joke of the hospital. This wasn't no easy situation for me to be where I am right now. And I don't want anyone to see about the movies in the book, but then they forget about the storm that I had to go through to get to the movie and the books. You got to be willing to endure in order to get the blessing. Because if you plant a seed, you just don't get the harvest. There's a time, there's a process for the harvest to come. But you got to keep watering it every single day. You got to keep going out there and pulling out the weeds and everything else in order to reap the benefits of the harvest. So I got kicked out the hospital. It was so bad, y'all, I was working out my car in the military. That was one of the biggest times of racism that I've ever saw in my life, was in the military. See, they claim that the flag stands for freedom, liberty, and justice for all. But as a people, I don't think we've ever had freedom. I don't think we've ever had liberty. I don't think we've ever had the justice. But I'd rather fight for it than just say we ain't never had it.
So if I could just jump in real quick here. No, we have never had it. It's interesting. I had to jump in because you said you never experienced racism until you joined the military. And it was interesting because it ding ding for me. When I experienced racism, it was when I was in basic training and I had joined the military. So, and this is why we have those programs that we have in the military. We're just a small microcosm of society, the truth be told. But that was my first experience of racism. And one of the things I passed on to my children that my mother taught me, and that was, I'm no better than anybody else. Nobody else is any better than me. I'm just as good as anybody else. My skin may be darker and I may have to work hard, but I can achieve whatever I wanted to achieve. If God opened the door, no man could shut it. And if God shut the door, no man could open it. And so with those type of teachings, upbringing, and the confidence in that, which might seem so small, but yet it was so powerful to instill, is why my son could say to the cop, okay, I mean, the only difference in you and me is the uniform, basically, because we put our pants on the same way. We're both human beings, and you're not going to treat me any kind of way because you may feel that you're superior to me. And I really believe that's the issue with just even any type of relationship, for the most part, when you have this superiority mindset or mentality that shows up, because there's only one supreme being. Nobody else is supreme to anyone else. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care where you live. I don't care what you drive. No one is not more supreme than anyone else, because when it comes time, there's two things that happen, and really maybe three, but definitely two. We're all entering into this world the same way, and that's through a woman. Somebody's gonna smack you on your butt because you was in somebody's womb. And when you die, nothing is going with you. Somebody else is going to serve you just like they served you entering to this world. They will serve you exiting this world. Even, God forbid, if you died on the street, somebody is going to still serve you. So it's important that we understand that we're best servants. We're great servants while we have the breath in our bodies to other people, because you never know who's going to have to serve you, coming in or exiting this world.
Look, after this whole situation happened to me or whatever else, I went to CEO space. A friend was like, why don't you move to California? I wound up moving to California. I wound up going after my dreams. I wound up going to Hill College. This is how me and Corinne met. I wound up signing up for John Casablanca, which is an acting modeling agency. Shout out to Francis and his wife, Delina. I wind up, I'm an outgoing person, as you can see, charismatic. I booked a commercial, which was Bank of America. I was the lead actor in it, and I did the voiceover for it, automatic SAG. That's how I became a SAG actor. I wind up having some friends that wanted to go to San Diego because they was holding auditions, and Mr. Mosley from My Sweet Life and Zach and Cody was holding auditions out there. We drive 8 hours. We on the way. We get there and I have to do a commercial. I still remember it to this day. And I'm like, how can I stand out from all these people? Got out the line, ran to the store, bought a soda. Came back with the soda, ready to go have my all white motorcycle helmet or whatever else, fresh cut up and all that, right? This is when I had hair. I go in there to Mr. Mosley and I'm like, how you doing? It's nice to meet you. I just want to thank you for doing what you've done because men like you open up doors for young men like me. And he just looked at me. He didn't say too much. He just smiled. He said, you ready? I said, I'm ready. And the commercial was, now look at that, draw a blank. It's not your attitude. What is the commercial of? Jesus Christ, I just forgot it. Oh. So here's the commercial.
To get a soda.
Right? I let's go get soda. I go in, I'm like, it's not your attitude. It's not what you drink, or is it? No. Here it is. I got it. What makes you cool? It's not your attitude. Took off my jacket. It's not what you wear. Took off my helmet. It's not what you drink. Opened up the soda, and the soda exploded on me. Now, mind you, I had on all white, and I was running. So because I was running, it shook up the soda, and I opened it up trying to be cool, and it just exploded all over me, and it spilled all over me. He was like, oh! I was like, I guess I was just happy to see you. And he called the joke, and he was like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. You need to come to LA. You need to come to LA right now, or whatever else. And I was like, whoo, right? And so, I moved to LA. I get to LA. I'm in Hollywood. Mom, I'm in Hollywood. Mom, I see stars. Look at, they got stars on the ground, Mama. Look, Mom, I found another set of stars. And the dude that was from LA was like, no, this is the same. These are the same stars. This is still Boardwalk. It's the same street. You're just a little further now. I didn't know. I was lost. I was just excited. And so I had to hustle. So I started doing security. Security allowed me to get access to all the studios, right? So now I'm on Fox Studios. I'm at CBS, and I'm seeing all these celebrities or whatever else. And I'm in my uniform. And I'm standing there trying to do my job, looking all proper, right? And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I didn't understand what God did for me. I was in my head and in my ego, like, man, I don't want these people to see me like this. And God was like, are you stupid? But this is how we talk, man. God, this is how we talk. Right? Are you stupid? Mm-hmm. You're in the room. Why would you carry yourself like a security guard? Why wouldn't you carry yourself like the talented person that I made you, like I made you? If you see yourself as a security guard, then the hell, that's what you is. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to like that? I know who I am. I got you. So I start walking around. I start introducing myself. I start mingling. I start carrying myself like I'm a celebrity just as well. And people was reciprocal, you know what I'm saying, of the conversation. And I started learning and started asking questions. How do you keep your peace at this level? Because I know I'll be here one day. And I just want to know how you keep your peace. Because I know that everyone's time, but everybody doesn't know your race or your story or how you got here. And they would look at me because it was a regular question that they wasn't asked before. So Mr. T, I wound up being in stand, and Mr. T said, I carry my Bible everywhere I go. I'm not trying to be a Bible thumper or beat it over no one's head, but I understand that it ain't about me. It's about my talent. My talent is the light. The light is what shines, because anytime I make it about me, I'm lost. So that's why anytime I'm instead, I speak to the janitor all the way up to the director. I talk to everyone. Because I know one day this could be taken from me. And the day you forget that is the day that you'll lose everything. So it's the humility, right? So I was like, wow. So I get a manager, I get an agent, I'm booking stuff, you know what I'm saying? Things are happening. I wrote my book or whatever else. And then I get an audition for Ballers. And so when I go on the Ballers audition or whatever else, they wanted me to rap. I'm like, bro, I can't really rap, but I can freestyle a little bit. I got a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? A little cadence. So I go in and rap bars or whatever else. And then I do the lines from the scene. And I'm like, okay, that was cool. I don't hear back from Ballers like 4 or 5 months, maybe 6, maybe longer than that, right? So I'm in school and I haven't been auditioning. So my manager calls me. She says, hey, we want to talk with you at the agent. Are you free at 3 o'clock? I said, yeah, I'm free. Man, they finna let me go. They finna let me go. I got to get a new manager. I got to get a new agent. Oh, my God. So I get a 3 o'clock phone call. They said, hey, King, have you heard the news? I said, no, I haven't heard the news. What's going on? She said, King, we ready to book Ballers. I said, you ready to let me go? She said, what? I said, you guys are ready to let me go. I know I haven't been auditioning for you. I know what I've been doing. She said, no, Ballers. What? Oh, let's go. Ballers. You know what I'm saying? So, good, right? Ballers was shot at Fox Studios. When I first got here doing security, Fox Studios was the first place that I worked at. So the same people that I did security with was the same people who wound up doing security for me when I had my trailer. And they was like, bro, you back to work again? I said, no, I got a trailer today. They said, you got a what? And then when they see me walk through the trailer, they was like, what? I was like, bro, you can do it too. So instead of me acting arrogant, I was able to speak life into them to let them know and show the proof, because just a week ago, we was on here doing security together, right? So then I go from that. And so I go back to watch Ballers, because you got to start watching to catch up in the show to see where your character fit, to know what's going on. So that way you could fit into the story. So in season 4, episode 10, they did a Colin Kaepernick episode about black players standing up and taking a knee for what's right about justice or whatever else. I still think we missed a moment in that time frame as a people, but it is what it is, right? So I said, I want to thank you. I went to the director. I said, I want to thank you. Season 4, episode 10 meant so much to me, bro, because you had one of the top shows on HBO and you talked about this topic. You didn't have to do it. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for telling the truth. And I'm balling up and I'm about to cry on set. And he was like, what's up? I said, because you did that for a person like me. Because I got beat up by the police. I lost everything. I'm the soldier who got beat up in South Carolina. And that's the same copy. Wait, that's you? I said, yeah, that was me. And then I wind up having a book signing on the set of Ballers. I had books in the trunk. Here's a book, here's a book, here's a book. So now, instead of me just being an actor, I'm actually signing books and giving it to the directors and the actors on set. 𝙶𝚒𝚘𝚗𝚍𝚗𝚍, the homie who just got done booking Snowfall, he just booked Power, shout out to him. He took me up under his wing. Little homie, this is what you need to do. And I'm like, yo, can I get a picture? Or whatever else is on the gram. So I got a picture with 𝙶𝚒𝚘𝚗𝚍 or whatever else. His name is Chris Lofton. And he was like, wait, what character are you playing? Oh, I said, I'm playing Wiry Guy. He's like, oh, you the cat who finna shoot me? You the reason why I ain't getting no more paychecks? Heck no, I ain't taking no picture with you. Come on, bro, let's take a picture. But it was all cool. But it's funny how it all circled around. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I went from that situation to saying, Mom, I want to be a director, right? No, at first, excuse me, I lied. My friend Jeff, who played Tupac in the Death Row Chronicles, wound up going to NYFA. He says, I'm going to NYFA for screenwriting. You should use your military GI Bill to do it too. I'm like, yep, sure, I'm gonna be a screenwriter. Let's do it. So we get to school and we go to NYFA for in processing, and we're going into the screenwriting program. And then I find out how much screenwriters had to write. I said, oh no, this is me. The devil is a lie. I don't like to write like that. No. I'm not. Wait, so a feature film is 120 pages, 130 pages, and y'all want us to kick this out every week? I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Shout out to all my screenwriters because I ain't doing all that, right? So I went over to the directing program. And then I fell in love with directing. So now not only can I act, I can create the movies that I want to be in. If Hollywood don't want to let me in, I can put myself in my own movie, which is exactly what I did. My second movie was A War on Friendly Grounds. So A War on Friendly Grounds talks about the day that happened when I got beat up by the police. And then I had to go into casting and I had to talk to people and I had to create a safe environment for other actors that are Caucasian to have to say nigga, because they didn't want to say that. But I had to let them know that, hey, if you say this, it's safe. I'm not upset. I wouldn't be mad at you. You're in a safe space, because that word is so controversial and so emotionally triggering. I had to create a safe space because I needed them to tell the truth in my Will Smith voice. Tell the truth. I need you to tell the truth, right? So, because I didn't want to disrespect anyone else who's ever lost their loved ones to a police officer who acted that way. So I needed her to be able to actually be the officer, be in that mindset, be in that mind frame. So I had to get up in his face. I had to talk trash, call him all different type of names or whatever else to piss him off for that word to come out. And then I said, action. Now we're ready to do this thing. Now we're ready to do the movie. So shout out to everyone that worked on The War on Friendly Grounds, Jimmy Lee, shout out to Matt, those guys who played the officers. I want to shout them out first because they had to do the difficulty of the reality of being racist and actually playing it truthfully. Shout out to Ashley who played the first lady. Shout out to myself who played the other guy. Shout out to my brother who I was able to cast in a film, and he got to play the teacher in my film, you know? So it's about everything being humble, right? I shot this film for less than I can tell y'all, but know that God blessed me. It was such a blessing that I got so much free stuff on this set. Chipotle fed the whole set for free.
You took my money.
I'm talking about
I'm just teasing.
Chipotle fed everyone for free. I got shout out to Universal Studios. I got to shoot on the Universal Studios lot for free. Shout out to NYFA that allowed me to be able to tell this story. Now I go from a person. You would have told Miss Ava that I would be on your show 2005, I probably would have cussed you out and spit in your face because I would have never believed it. But I go from getting beat up, being a soldier, getting beat up, wrongfully facing 2 years in jail to being in this position. Now that number 10 is crazy because it happened in October, number 10. I did 10 years in the Army. I was facing 10 years in jail wrongfully. And then it happened 10 years apart when me and the little girl got beat up.
So let me give you another 10.
Wow.
You came 10 from hitting the top 50 in the film festival.
Wow.
Number 60. And they said they took
10 away from being in the top 50 of
you
the
were
film
10 away
festival.
from being the
Yeah, the last festival, I was 10 away. That's a good one, Ma. So now I go from this story happening in South Carolina to moving to California to getting a call about the little girl getting beat up. So my homeboy Sheldon Ferguson, who's a guitar player in South Carolina, calls me, hey, did you hear about this? So he sends me the video of the little girl. I'm like, yo, that's Officer Clark. That's Officer Benjamin Fields. Excuse me, Benjamin Fields. That's Officer. Yeah, I knew that cat. So that day, his son, WIS in South Carolina, their son lived in Burbank. Came over, did an interview at the crib. Then all of a sudden, every news station wanted me to do interviews with him. Jake Tapper and CBS and blah blah blah. And they wanted to fly me all out. That's how I wound up on Jake Tapper. I did an interview with Jake Tapper, and Jake Tapper hit me with the trick question: if you saw the officer again, what would you say? That's when I said I forgive him. That's when the trolls came out. Oh, your forgiveness didn't help that little girl. You coon ass. You know what I'm saying? Everything up under the sun, right? My own people, who I'm standing up for, who I love, talking trash, talking crazy, reckless, right? Comments are still there, so you can look it up to see if I'm telling the truth or not, right? Then I said, yo, I need to find a celebrity. I need to get with Diddy. I need to get with 50. I'm in New York. How can I find these people? So I'm just taking Ubers everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. I call my homeboy Cameron. He was like, yo, why don't you try the radio station? That's how I ended up with Nessa on Hot 97. So I go to Nessa to try to get in the building. I couldn't get in the building. Didn't nobody know me. They on their way home. So this guy named Melvin, he was outside smoking a cigarette because I was like, man, I'm out, God. I'm out. No, I'll go back one more time. I go back, he's smoking, and they talk about the little girl getting beat up by the police. I said, yo, I'm the soldier. I just did CNN. Wait, you? Hold on. They went upstairs to get Nessa. Dude couldn't even get me in the building. Nessa had to come downstairs to get me in the building to give me access to Hot 97. She said, don't worry about it. 10 minutes, we'll do an interview. That's how I wound up doing an interview with Nessa from Hot 97. Nessa's dating Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick starts the Know Your Right program. That's something that I talked about with Nessa because she was like, yo, if there's anything that you could say to the audience, what would you want them to know? I would want them to know their rights. All of a sudden, or for Know Your Rights. And shout out to Colin Kaepernick for that amazing program because he's doing amazing things. I'm trying to get him my book. Shout out to Cap, plug from the show. Hopefully he watches. You know what I mean? Trying to get him my book, trying to get Ryan Coogler my book. So I wound up doing the show with Nessa. You know what I mean? And now I entered into the film festival. Man, on set, it was magical. It was amazing. It was a great time. Everybody was there for the right reasons and the right purpose. Now, all of a sudden, you got to give the baby away. You got to give your movie away. You got to give it to the world. And you got to wait to see if the world's going to see your baby. Now, mind you, we done went through COVID because COVID shut the school down. So we edited, and I'm looking for people to do the score, all different type of stuff. You know what I mean? Because I ain't got the money to pay for the real songs that I want. So, I got my friends giving me music for the score. Shout out to my boy Young Just a Million. He got a song at the end of the movie talking about please don't shoot me and my people. We got our hands up, which I just thought was so powerful. And we took images from the Black Lives Matter movement from around the world, from Paris, Russia, America, Africa, where all these people were just saying Black Lives Matter. We took all those images and we got please don't shoot me and my people with those images shown. So I'm like, man, I got to give this baby away. All right, God. It's been a long time. You took me on a wild ride. I get the movie away. And I wanted to get into, the Canes. I wanted to get into all the big film festivals. No. Woo. Don't nobody want to see it. Don't nobody like my baby. And then all of a sudden, winner. Selected. So now my film has been selected in 12 different film festivals. I just competed in the Lonely Wolf Festival from around the world, and out of 500 films, and I'm talking about
honey.
Australia, people from China, people from the UK, or whatever else, we finished in the top 60. Now the story is being told worldwide, and I never thought that my story would be told worldwide the day that I was going through my story. But now my story is actually blurred, so now it goes from like a Fruitvale Station meets Pursuit of Happiness. So when everyone sees me online, they're like, "Oh my God, King, you're doing so well. Your movie, yeah. Man, I'm hurting.
Right.
I'm going through hell. Y'all just see the finish line. But let me tell you, every time somebody loses their life, I wonder why I'm still here. I got survivor's guilt. Why me? What's so special about me that Sandra Bland couldn't make it? Eric Gardner, Philando Castile, all these other people. What's so special about me?
You know what I thought too was because my maiden name, your name, last name is Martin, and shortly thereafter, your incident was when the incident happened to Trayvon Martin. And as a mom, I would always, my heart goes out.
I'm working with those mothers. Cousin. Trayvon's cousin helped me write the script.
Yeah, my heart goes out for them, but I'm very grateful. I'm like, Lord, I thank you that this cop did not pull out his gun, because the scene really could have went different, but I know that there were angels on the set for this particular situation that happened down here in South Carolina. Yeah, and so with that, there also comes, it's kind of like subliminally, because I'll ask cops, are you a good cop or are you a bad cop? What's your agenda? Or I don't want Richland County riding behind me or whatever. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of that residual, as to what happened to my son. And a lot of people don't understand that. The Army coined the term, or the military coined the term PTSD as a result of the wars. But the truth of the matter, people of color has had PTSD from inception of coming over to this country, from the time that they were,
Post
yeah,
trauma.
yeah.
We don't have to specify what type of trauma.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Imagine going, because I got a chance to go to Ghana, West Africa, and I saw where the slaves were, and where they put them in the building, and we built this stuff. But it just shows you that when people make promises, and so the Kakakoi Caucasian, and I have phenomenal friends of all ethnicities, but those individuals who had that evil in their hearts, even when the Germans, I watched stuff of what happened, what Hitler did to the Jews and what have you, right?
Yeah.
So you have to know that there's evil behind it. And when people, the Alaskan Natives and Native Americans, when people trusted those individuals, they were expecting a good return on their investment. Instead, their investment enslaved and impoverished their communities, so that others could prostitute them to have the things that they want to have.
Mm. Mm. So
Like,
as much, go ahead, King.
not ever like, I'm just saying this to anyone. I don't care what you're doing in life. You're gonna go through something. Period. But in order to get your dream, let's break down this dream thing, right? A dream is something to appear real in your sleep, but you shouldn't want to just dream, because a dream's not reality. You should want to be able to turn your dream into a reality. And in order to turn your dream into a reality, that means you got to wake up and do something. You got to wake up and write it down. There's something magical about writing it on paper, because it becomes alive. And then you have to start watering it and nurturing it for your dream to become the reality that you say you want. We have to stop dreaming, and we have to create the realities that we want in life. But there's a price to pay. You got to invest in it. You got to get over the haters. You got to worry about what people are going to say. You got to believe when don't nobody else believe. And the reason why is because you owe it to yourself to fulfill your purpose and your contract with your higher creator. And I just call him God. Are you going to fulfill your contract? And what that means is, are you going to fulfill your talents? The Bible talks about 3 people. One buried the talent, one halfway used it, and the other one went all out. Which one will you be? A dream is just like a business. A business is just like slavery. And what I mean by that is the structure. Because on a plantation, you have a slave driver, and a CEO. And in business, you have a worker bee, a manager, and a CEO. The question is, which plantation are you going to work for today? And there's nothing wrong with that. But the question is when you get off work from your plantation, whether it's McDonald's or whether it's Google's, are you building your own dream? Are you being accountable for what's true to you? So that way you can flourish the way you want to flourish in your own life. And to do that, you got to be willing to sacrifice, put the time in. And we can go right back to the beginning of this whole interview. You got to get in the weight room. And the first day in the weight room, the first week, it hurts. You're sore. You don't want to do it. You don't want to go back no more. But then when you start seeing the results, it changes. So you have to go through the soreness. You have to go through the pain, no gain, in order to get the results that you want. What is your dream? Write it down, create a vision board, and live it. Have the big, this is how you got to break it down, right, y'all? You got to have the ultimate journey, the ultimate dream of what you really want. And then you got to break it down into steps to get there. Here's my yearly goal. Here's my monthly target. Here's my weekly target. And here's my daily target. So if I do my daily target, it'll hit the weekly target. If I do the weekly target, it'll hit the monthly target. If I hit the month target, it'll change into a yearly target. If I have the yearly target will become our reality. The only difference between us and everyone else is we're watching them do the work that we could be doing in our own lives, which goes back to the beginning of the conversation about why I'm paying attention to Kobe Bryant and Kobe Bryant's lifestyle, even though I love Kobe, hero, mentor, whatever else, when I could be the Kobe Bryant of my own life.
What are your stats?
Are you willing to do the work?
Your stats.
Your stats, your life.
The two of you have given so many tools. I normally like to wrap up an interview and a conversation with asking if you could make it concise. What's that last thing, that direct piece of advice to give to anyone who's into this? Mom. But you have given so many tools. There's so much relatability in everything that both of you have said that I do not feel the need to ask that question. I think that there's so much clarity in the advice that you've given through speaking on your experiences. I can't thank you enough for being willing to do that on our platform.
I appreciate that.
And this was such a beautiful exchange. On a personal note, I want to say I love both of you. I feel like we're related. This conversation here, I'm like, all right, this is my new godmama. But this is my new godbrother. This is my godmama, because that's the energy that I feel was exchanged. Of course, I do want to give you the courtesy, if before we wrap up, there's anything you feel that you would want for anyone to watch and be a member of this platform to know. You know, I don't want you to exit the room and feel like darn, I should have said that. So the floor is absolutely yours, and I thank you for using it and for being here and expressing yourself.
No, actually, the way you wanted to sum up your show is it's your show.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll say is, if you felt that the nuggets, the tools that were given sufficed, then don't go buy another tool.
Amen.
Use the tools. Use the tools that you got, and you'll still get what you need to have to complete it. And it was a very good show. So I don't have anything else to add. I did inbox you just then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very humbled. It is a blessing to be a blessing, and your show will go leaps and bounds.
Thank you very much.
Continue to be the host that you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where's Corinne? I want to invite Corinne and say, if I were her, we would not have met and become family. So she will be getting a very special phone call, King's friend Corinne, just expressing my gratitude, connecting us, definitely. But thank you very much for that.
What happened?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What happened?
I'm going to cry.
Say hi, Sully. Why are you smiling? What's going
Sully, hey, girl.
Say hi, Sully. Hi.
Hi.
How are you, beautiful? Corinne. Oh, my goodness. King, you are a trip. I'm the one that usually does that to everybody else. You got me. He got me.
Got him. What's up, sis?
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Corinne, I was just saying I was going to call you as soon as we wrapped up here because it was such a beautiful conversation. And as you can see, King invited his mother to join the conversation. So we had an opportunity to speak on, you know, her perspective of the experience that he had, and just to hear from a strong and powerful mother on top of hearing from King everything that he's gone through. So I could not have fathomed this interview going the way that it did. And this is because you connected us. This is because of the magic that you are and the way that she and I were attracted to one another and introduced one another. Hold on, there's a celebrity on the screen now. I'm done. Hey, what's up, girl?
Hi.
I love it. Hey, what's up? Look, once you have your own music video, you can print and however much you want, okay? I'm so proud of you, Deja. But Corinne, I was saying to King and Shirley Ann that I was going to thank you profusely, and he brought you onto the stream.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm glad you guys hooked up, and I'm glad you're on the show together. You guys are both so amazing. I love you guys so much. I'm gonna cry having you guys both on here.
Oh,
we love you so much.
Thank you for bringing me in. You guys are amazing. I'm glad I could connect you guys, and I'm glad to see your faces. You guys are also beautiful.
Don't you fall down there.
We appreciate you so much, Corinne. Thank you for just infusing love and light and magic into all these connections. I'm so happy that they've been made.
Now, Mom, Deja is Corinne's daughter. Her song will be featured in Twitter Fingers, and everyone will be doing something very special to Deja's song throughout the whole movie. So,
very nice.
To shout out that amazing, young, talented young lady. You know what I'm saying? She's definitely going to blow up and do big things in the music industry. So, I met Corinne in college. We went to college together in the Bay, and so Corinne,
we educated a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, I cheated off a Corinne paper. I'll keep it 100. I was copying off a Corinne paper. And Corinne connected me to Ava, and then Ava allowed me to connect you, Mom. So this is this whole circle of life that's going on right here. Because I think it's the first time I meet my mother too, isn't it?
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful young ladies.
And
You all are very
Shirley
beautiful
and
young
Corinne
people.
was a guest. She was a guest on the show and to dive everything into powerful and strong mothers. We had a beautiful conversation in Corinne's interview about her raising her two daughters. Her daughter is an artist on the record label that she owns and operates. And she also has a daughter with cerebral palsy. We spoke a little bit about that. So the mothers, I love that I've had the opportunity to amplify both your voices now. I'm going to melt. I'm going to melt away. Thank you. Thank you so much for popping in. I'm glad you were available.
got 'em.
Yes, absolutely. We're actually barbecuing here, and I'm in the middle of cooking. But you know, he told me to tap in, so I wanted to make sure I tapped in. Whenever he says to do something, I jump, and it's vice versa.
Hey, sis. Matter of fact, now that you're on the show,
yes.
we just got selected into another film festival.
Oh my gosh, that's so
we got selected to a new one.
Dope.
So I'll be sending you that information so you can check that out too.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Corinne. I'll be there. I'll be there in about 8 hours. I'm coming to barbecue. I'll be there in 8 hours. Okay, give me some time.
Okay, we'll send you some.
Thank you.
So that's a good surprise.
I can't believe you. I can't believe you just did that.
Gotcha.
You are a shrimp.
And so my closing remarks to your audience is the biggest lie is knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. It's just knowledge. Because we can know everything. You know, we dropped a lot of gems on this show. You know, you already got your own gems in your own life. But if you don't never apply any of it, what did it mean to know it? The application of knowledge is being powerful. So if anything that we said inspired you, cool. Because the inspiration will last for only so long. Who cares? But if you apply it and it happens to change your life, now we're talking about something.
Yeah.
I would rather you apply everything that we talked about. I would rather you apply the changes in your life. I would rather you apply all these steps to your dreams to becoming real. It's the application. And in the application will come the tears, the work, the frustration, the heartache, the test, the testimony, the happiness, and everything that you want. And then we can switch places. And now you could be in the square talking and I could be listening to you talk about how you went through this and you went through that and your test and your testimony. And your testimony can be an inspiration to me. And that's how we feed each other this circle of life. It's from not just knowing it, but applying it. And then after we apply it, to share it and give it to someone else so that way you can bless them. Because what's the point of me knowing all of this and not coming on this amazing platform that you built for me to be able to share? And if you didn't build it, then I wouldn't have a platform to share on. So again, it goes back to the kudos of your bravery to build a platform for me and my mother to have an opportunity to speak to a crowd that we didn't even know about existed. You created an existence for us in a space that we didn't know for us to be able to share and drop gems and wisdom to people who got to God's people. So we don't know these people, you know these people, but because of your knowledge and because of your willingness to create a platform, now we're able to feed. Now we're able to drop seeds and then they can reap the harvest where they can grow up and switch places with you, me, or my mom, and then give their knowledge to someone else. That's how we keep feeding everyone in life. That's how the system trickles down. The problem is we get so selfish and we keep it to ourselves and we want yachts and we only want a particular type of person on the yacht with us and we stop pouring down the blessings. That's why when you started off the show with the gospel song, Melodies from Heaven was one of my favorite ones from Kurt Frank. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because all the melodies are coming down from heaven to be able to be a blessing. But if the melody never came down, how can we bless anybody? And that's the point. If we never do what we need to do in our life to be able to share to someone else's life, what's the point of having life? The whole point of having life is to be able to share, to be able to bless someone else. That's why I say, are we so comfortable? How do we get comfortable? Because of the sacrifices that our ancestors made for us to have what we have. But we took our comfortability, became selfish in it, and stopped sharing. And we wonder why we have the results that we have. Stop being selfish, share the blessing, and feed the future so that way the future can have a better situation than you had. What are we doing? Why are we creating this bottleneck? You know why? Because we're keeping knowledge to ourselves. We're comfortable in our knowledge. We're comfortable in our house. We're comfortable in our pride. We're comfortable with our education and our facts, and we don't want to share anymore. Wow. We don't want to. We made it out the hood, so we're good. Screw everybody else. We're okay, and we ain't worried about no one else. But yet we wonder why the Black culture suffers the way it suffers. It suffers because you don't want to keep educating. You don't want to keep sharpening iron. You don't want to keep blessing the neighbors. You don't want to keep feeding the children. You don't want to keep being the inspiration. You don't want to tell the truth about how you got to your position. You don't want to share your sadness, your tears, your story. But that's where the blessing is. Because if you could tell people you cried, if you could tell people you were frustrated, if you tell people you wanted to quit, if you tell the damn truth, if you tell the truth, then someone else can be inspired to continue to keep it going. Before Pop died, Pop says, I want to be the flame to ignite the fire to the generation. Well, I'm not the fire. I'm just part of the flame. And I want my flame to inspire someone else's fire. Because it wasn't about me. This whole show was never about my mom in a box, me in a box, you in a box. You created this platform for other people. My mom came on for other people. I came on for other people. So my mom can touch other mothers. You can touch other people who want a podcast. I can touch people who went through something. We're all touching different people, and it had nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the people we touch. But if you kept your platform to yourself, my mama kept it to herself, I kept it to myself, then who are we blessing? Because one day we're going to die and we're going to take all this information with us. What does it mean to know something and do nothing? That's even a bigger crime. It's a bigger crime to be selfish and not be the blessing to someone else. It's a bigger crime to take it, to keep all these gems, to keep all these wisdoms, to keep all these blessings and say, me, and then someone else who's like my nephew just walked out the door. If I keep everything inside and I don't tell his hard-headed butt nothing, and he keeps living life and he keeps doing whatever else, and I don't bless him, then I did my nephew a disservice.
Why he had to be hard-headed, King? Why he had to be hard-headed?
I'm hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? Because I'm hard-headed, I can relate to somebody who else is hard-headed. Look, I don't know why. Trust. I do not know. Talk about my receding hairline right now. Talk about how I'm about to go shave my head bald. Talk about, I don't care. Because if I wasn't doing nothing, you wouldn't talk about me. You talking about me is part of the formula. And we got to start understanding success. We want success, but we don't want what comes with success. People hating on you is part of the formula. You know why? Because it's letting you know that you're getting closer to where you say you want to be. And the more it comes, the closer you're getting to the goal. These are warning signs. It's like in a relationship, before you break up, you got red flags. Well, this ain't working for me, so you know what? I can't do this anymore. Well, guess what? The same thing as success happens, because every red light you hit, it's going to get harder and harder and harder and harder. All of that's to stop you, because we go back to the beginning of the show, to the aquarium. The glass wall isn't meant to keep you out. It's to see how bad you want in. How bad do you want?
Amen.
Or do you just say, I want it, Ava, I want it. Well, what are you doing to get it? What'd you say? I said, what are you doing to get it?
The answer should be everything.
But no, the answer is the complaint, and then you wonder why you don't get it. You biblically, let's go here before I go. The promised land exists. The promised land exists in the Bible. Pharaoh said, let my people go, so that way they can go through the wilderness to get to the promised land. But you understand the structure of how he set it up? You had to go through the wilderness. And the wilderness is where the problems were. It wasn't that the promise wasn't there. It was the fact that you wasn't willing to go through the wilderness to get to the promise. Everybody wants heaven. Nobody wants to cross. We always want the end result, but we don't want to take what it takes to get to the result. So we just complain. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. You could change your life today. Today, if you make different choices. That's all it takes. A different choice to do something differently. But it's insanity to do the same thing over and over again and want a different result. The question is, are you willing to put in the work to do something different? You want to lose weight? Different. Work out. It's a choice.
Right.
We're comfortable though. We love our comfort. We so comfortable. We addicted to the poison. We addicted to being where we are. We're addicted to complaining. We love it. You know why? I'm gonna show you how we love it. Go on Instagram right now, and I guarantee you'll see something that's drama-fied with over 1 million likes. Why is drama so attractive? It's amazing that this won't get 1 million views, but guess what? Somebody go out here and do the busted challenge or the silhouette challenge. I bet you that get 1 million views. We addicted to BS.
I'm gonna speak Ava getting 1 million views.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not going to say it. The mindset of where we are, we can ready to get started, and it got 1 million. It's worldwide. He did that.
I love this dance move. Right, I love it.
Too.
That's the third time now. It's the third time it's made on the screen. I love it. It's great.
But my point of it is, shout out to my man who did the Junebug challenge. Shout out to him for creating it. But he did something. He started his own wave. What wave are you starting? Or are you just going to do the Junebug for the rest of your life?
Because he got somebody else's wave.
But there's bigger to life than the Junebug. The Junebug's not a foundation.
All the way home.
What frequency of vibration are we going to create? It's all around. Your blessing is all around you. The question is, do you take the time to see it? You think I'm lying? Okay. Can you hear me talk right now? You're blessed. Can you see the podcast right now? You're blessed. Can you watch a show and get more information? You're blessed. You got 2 legs? You're blessed. You got your health? You're blessed. Do you have COVID right now? You're blessed. You are already blessed. But you don't see the blessing. You see the problems. And if you're always doing the problems, some people afford in the blessings.
I won't let you down, King. I won't let you down. We won't let you down. Anyone listening that hears the passion and the advice that you are giving, they better not let you down. They better not let themselves down. This is about them. Yes. There it is. Yes. Listen, Shirley-Ann, thank you so much for all that you have done to put someone like King and your other children into the world. It is mothers like you that are truly going to change the world as a whole, because you are changing generation after generation after generation, and you already see it with Tashana.
Hey, I'm glad you said that. Mama, I'm glad you said that, right? And I'm glad she brought up Marquise, and I'm glad she brought up trust. My brother did not believe me when I got beat up by the police, y'all. He didn't believe me. He's like, what did you do wrong? What did you do? You had to do something. The police don't do that. And months later, he had to come back around for the apology. I'm going to tell you right now, after that big old sermon I just gave, you are going to be inspired to do something. Your brother might not believe, your sister, your mama, or your friends. It don't matter, because it ain't their dream. It's yours. Regardless of if anyone else believe you or not. You got to take care of your own dream. You got to take care of your own blessing. And guess what? Me and my brother are closer than we've ever been. Because we were able to have an honest conversation about something that he didn't really understand until his bubble got popped, because he lives in Chicago. He sees it differently now. And now all of a sudden we're on a different vibration. So it's okay to have a disconnection.
Because of the truth. Right.
Because eventually we'll come together and you'll have a stronger connection. My connection wouldn't be as strong as it is today without the disconnect. So sometimes the disconnect you need to be able to get stronger. Sometimes the weights that you have on your chest you need, so that way you can get stronger while you're lifting it off.
Yes. You better bring it full circle.
Come on, man.
Full circle. I have a suggestion. Okay. Can the two of you please have your own podcast, the two of you together as co-hosts? That would be phenomenal. The wisdom, the passion, the fire, the flames. I'm here for it. I would watch. No, but seriously, it's been such a pleasure to have the two of you together. And King, again, thank you. It truly says something about your belief in the platform that you would invite your mother. You're so wonderful.
And to your queen,
like I said before, anything from this point on, as a part of the Mirage family, you have my unwavering support. I'm so excited to be a reason that a new audience, a new set of folks knows about you and how wonderful you both are. That is my mission. So I can't wait to continue.
Y'all can check me out on IG. Check me out on IG. Jaquell Martin. Find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I promise you, I got a fire new movie for y'all. Twitter Fingers is about to do something different for y'all.
I'm so ready for Twitter Fingers. It's monstrous. I can't wait to see your perception and your art in uncovering and revealing some Twitter stuff. And we'll absolutely be in contact again soon. Actually, Shirley, I'm text messaging you right now. I just put my name, and that will be coming to you. Just so, yes, I really appreciate these connections. Thank you for bringing Corinne on, King.
Got you real good with that one. Oh, and y'all can check out my podcast. I do got a podcast. We do our show every Thursday at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 9 Eastern Time, or whatever else. Y'all check us out. It's called Look in the Mirror, the Conversation. You know what I mean? I would love to have you on, Ava. Just your energy, your mindset, your thought process. Our audience would love it. They would love it.
Thank you. That's flattering. Yes, I can't wait to tune in and see it for myself. And I appreciate these connections. I really do. We're limitless, because we've come together in truth. We are limitless now. No limits. So
say, Ava, do me a favor. Say that one more time, because I don't need that gym to go by. I need people to understand the power of what you just said. So can you say that? The power
of unity. We have come together in truth. Because we have come together in truth, we are now limitless. I had limitations before the advice and the wisdom that the two of you have offered. It is the advice and wisdom that you brought to the table that now allows me to move and operate without certain limitations that I had before this conversation. It's beautiful. Honestly, when I finish this episode, I'm going to flop onto the bed and cry, I'll be honest, for many different reasons. But just know the two of you are two of the reasons. This is the fourth. It's the fourth season. I had no idea this was going to get into 4 seasons. I'm a puddle of gratitude and humility. So that's what I'm going to go melt into as soon as we finish up here.
And you have many more.
Yes. And I wanted to leave you with, yes, ma'am.
I just want to say also, too, that if anybody out there is looking for a realtor, no matter where they live, they can look.
Talk your talk. Don't market
yourself. Yeah, I am a realtor with Realty 100 Press, so I can help.
What's your Instagram? What's your Facebook? Where can they find you?
Yes. Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff.
So for the website, I'll just give the website. And the
Okay.
website is Trust Destiny, just like it sounds, realty.net. TRUSTDESTINY That's my daughter's name.
Say it one more time, Mama. Say
Lovely.
it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you say
Trust
the website one more time?
Yes, trustdestinyrealty.net.
Thank you guys so much. I'm leaving you with a lyric line from the song that I played when we started the broadcast, King. The song was I Smile by Kirk Franklin, and what stood out to me meaningfully was, when I think of how much better I'm going to be when this is over.
I like it.
And that's what I wanted to round with. Thank you for making us better.
We love you. We love everyone in the audience. Tune in, get fed, because she's feeding the people, man. Check out, support the Mirage podcast. Make sure y'all just support Ava on Instagram, all her social medias. Get her following up. Let's get the show out. We need to support each other because she said something very key: unity. The unity of us all coming together changes Ava's situation. The unity of the followers, the unity of the likes, the unity of the subscriptions, the scribes, and everything else, that all shows unity. Guess what that does? That builds her a bigger platform, to make a better platform, which opens up more doors for more people. So we need the unity to support us. We want to change us, then support us. Support our businesses, support our YouTube channel, support our Instagram, support us on social media. We need the support. The Mirage podcast needs the support. Ava needs your support. Continue to let her soar to higher heights.
Yeah.
It's not about an ego thing. It's about a love thing. And if you truly love our people, you're supposed to love our people, then love on her, help her, support her, grow her platform. Because the bigger she gets, the bigger platforms you get to speak on. You see how it works together? But yet we'll take one person to try to hate to knock all of this down. And we ain't got time for that. We are in a building. 2020 knocked everybody on their butt. 2020 was perfect vision for you to look at yourself. If you're leaving 2020 the same way you was in 2020, then that's on you. Now we in 2021. You got one more chance to do something different. What we gonna do? So now let's make sure support Ava, support the Mirage podcast, support her social media, support everything that she's doing. Because the bigger she grows, the bigger y'all grow. You can't get blessed without being a blessing. Facts.
Thank you for that, King. I cannot wait to continue to support both of you. And I know when our audience hears this, they will support you as well. It's cyclical. This is all I promote. Love, unity, truth, most importantly.
Yes.
Thank you so much.